Programs normally presented at this time will not be seen today, in order that CBS Sports may bring you the National Football League playoffs.
Welcome to the NFL Today. I'm Dorothy Benham, Miss America 1977. It's beautiful, warm, and sunny here in Bloomington, Minnesota, and we have a great game lined up for you today. And away we go.
The NFL Today is sponsored by Ryder Truck Rental, the best truck money can rent. From Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota, here's Brent Musburger.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to tropical Bloomington, Minnesota. Herb, I don't believe it. 2 Miss Americas on the field at the same time. Phyllis, you can take the day off?
Excuse us, Fred.
You can't leave us now.
Oh, you little devil, you. I'll get you back. Well, everyone, this beautiful face here's Dorothy Benham, and she was born and raised in Minnesota. Dorothy, who are you rooting for today? Now, come on. Phyllis, I'll tell you if you tell me who you're rooting for tomorrow. I'll never tell. That's my secret. Listen, all of us at CBS are very excited about the Miss America pageant coming back to where it belongs. There are many, many people very excited about it. Should be a great year. And I'll see you there in Atlantic City, right on Convention Hall stage. That's right. Next September. Brent, back to the beast.
Beauty to the beast. And the football game at hand, Washington, Minnesota, and we've already got a controversy as the playoffs begin, the great shoe controversy of Fred Cox. Irv, tell me about that.
Well, here it is, Brent. Well, this is a conventional kicking shoe that most kickers use in the National Football League. It has a flat toe, but the key here is this, that from the toe to the heel, there's a base in here called spring steel. It's a metal plate which holds the cleats in place. The question today is whether or not Fred Cox's toe will be a legitimate toe and that there may be some metal device put in there. The answer to that question is simply this, Brent. It is a legal shoe as long as it's manufactured by a legitimate manufacturer. If anybody can get it, you can use it in the NFL.
All right. Oh, it should be some match. Minnesota and Washington, couple of teams with a great tradition, and I guess the CBS broadcaster who has been around Minnesota-Washington games the longest has to be Jack Whitaker. And while we break and go inside to our studio away from home, let's go over to Jack now across the field for a few thoughts on this game. Jack?
Thank you very much, Brent. I guess since Bud Grant established this dynasty in Minnesota, many of us at CBS Sports have made Christmas a big part of our life in Minnesota. It's as big coming to Minnesota as Jingle Bells and Christmas carols, and we all do our Christmas shopping in the same arcade that Mary Tyler Moore goes to. And I think that rather underlines the chief characteristic of this game. You're not going to alarm Bill Kilmer and the Washington Redskins or Fran Tarkenton and the Minnesota Vikings with talk about playoff jitters. Not only have these clubs been here before, they've stayed. There's a lot of talk going around that perhaps Minnesota won too easily and they're a little soft, and that Washington was on the critical list every week and they're sharper. Or that Minnesota should win easily because they have the home field advantage, etc., etc. In my opinion, you throw all that kind of talk out today. What we're about to see are two teams, to use the current cliche, with character. The Redskins, frantic and emotional, the Vikings, cool, calm, and collected. And everybody knows that Tarkenton and Eller and Page want to go back to the Super Bowl and win one, as do Bill Kilmer and the Washington Redskins. No, what we're going to see here, I think, is one of the fine moments in professional sports. Two fine teams, well coached, with a lot of pride, fighting it out for big stakes. One other thing is the weather that you've heard about. It's almost spring in Bloomington, Minnesota today, and all of this can add up to one thing. You and I are the beneficiaries of it. I think we're going to see one whale of a ball game.
Ryder rents trucks.
All these teams to be honest.
Tough Ford trucks. And Ryder tunes those trucks razor sharp. ready for anything. When Ryder rental trucks take off on a mission, there can only be one ending.
Nervous, huh, kid?
Mission accomplished. Ryder, the best truck money can rent.
The Weller Mini Shop has so many accessories you can do almost anything. Light up a room, buff up a spoon, help lay the rails, build something that sails, turn old into new, make miniatures too, wipe away the years, stop a little boy's tears. The Weller Mini Shop Kit does so many things, yet costs so little. Weller, one of the great family of tools from Cooper Industries.
Colt 45 malt liquor. Sorry I'm late. I took the shortcut.
A completely unique experience.
Welcome to our home in Bloomington, Minnesota. Home with a view. We've got a band right outside of us. This is some setup. I imagine some folks think it's probably chroma key.
Folks, this is not chroma key. We are here, real life people in person, and all those people and players you see out there, they are here in Bloomington.
They're all asking for Phyllis, folks, just like every place else we go. Herb, I'll tell you, there's something just very special about the playoffs. What do you remember about last year?
You know, I can't forget that incredible pass from Roger Staubach to Drew Pearson late in the game to win it for the Cowboys. An unbelievable play.
I think it would be a good idea right now if we go back and review the first round of the NFL playoffs a year ago. Pittsburgh-Baltimore started it off on a Saturday. And I know you remember that contest so very, very well. Because Teddy Marchavella's Cinderella Colts fought Terry Bradshaw and the Steelers to a bruising 7-all standoff in that first half. In the final 30 minutes of that game, the mind and muscle of mighty Pittsburgh combined to cruelly crush the fairy tale dreams of the Baltimore Colts. Franco Harris, the biggest star on a team of all-stars, keyed the 28-10 victory by rushing for 153 yards, an AFC divisional record. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, the Rams' defense, which yielded the fewest points in the NFL, dominated the high-scoring St. Louis Cardinals. Defensive end Jack Youngblood's 47-yard interception touched off an avalanche of points that buried the Cardinals. The Rams scored easily and often. Setback Lawrence McCutcheon rushed for 202 yards and fed Ron Jesse with a clever assist for a touchdown. But in the end, it was basic football and not fortunate bounces that led Los Angeles to that 35-23 victory. Paul Brown ended a storied and gloried coaching career in Oakland, where his Cincinnati Bengals lost to the Raiders. Quarterback Kenny Stabler threw a barrage of passes through a needle's eye as the Raiders scored early, then held off the surging Bengals 31-28. And the most dramatic playoff game occurred right here, Bloomington, Minnesota, where for 59 minutes the Cowboys outthought and outfought the Vikings, but still trailed 14-10. Then with 24 seconds remaining and Dallas in the shotgun at midfield, Roger Staubach threw up what he called the Hail Mary pass. Drew Pearson, Nate Wright, the ball and controversy met in simultaneous rendezvous. A miracle landed in the heavenly hands of Drew Pearson as the Dallas Cowboys pulled off a stunning 17-14 victory.
Wow, that was exciting.
That sets the stage for today, too. And, of course, the Dallas Cowboys tomorrow on the CBS game will be taking on the Los Angeles Rams at home. Now, the broadcasters that we have working this game today for you, a couple of very good friends and a couple of gentlemen who have done a fine job for CBS. Vin Scully will be calling the play-by-play, and Paul Horning is his analyst. And so let's go up to Vin now.
Thank you, Brent. I guess when you think about it, that Bud Grant and George Allen have three things in common. They all win a lot, they love ice cream, and as generals, they love psychology, and it already started with the shoe.
It sure has been. I think in talking to some of the Redskins yesterday, they feel that the Minnesota Vikings do not respect Washington as a team. I think actually last week they were pulling for the Redskins against Dallas.
Now,
They
who
would
told you that?
I just think last week, looking back, they would rather have played the Redskins today than the St. Louis Cardinals.
That sounds like something that George Allen might have fed into the computer saying, you know, they don't take you very heavily.
I'm going to tell you, you wouldn't think George would do something like that, would you?
The other thing he did was to say this is the most explosive Minnesota team, and he also took time out to tell us how many of his boys are fighting the flu.
Yes, Mike Thomas has only practiced one day this week, but when you get this far in, the marbles are on the line, you got to play. If you can walk, you've got to play in a ball game like this.
That's why the generals wear the stars, Grant and Allen. Let's go back to Brent.
All right, Vin, thank you very much. And, you know, Irv and Phyllis, he mentioned the two coaches, Grant and Allen. Kind of a contrast in personalities. We're going to be back to take a look at the two men in just a moment as the NFL Today continues on CBS.
I was asked to talk about the incredible Black & Decker Workmate. There's almost nothing it can't hold. But the Workmate is so incredible, I'm going to let it do the talking. The Workmate from Black & Decker, and nobody else.
The battery graveyard. 119,000 batteries end up here every day. Here's the one that started a revolution in car batteries. The J.C. Penney battery. It has more starting power than any other battery you can buy. You never add water, and it's fully warranted for as long as you own your car. If it fails, return it. We'll replace it free. Only at J.C. Penney auto centers or catalog desks. It's the last battery your car will ever need.
These Amana radar range microwave ovens have Cookmatic power shift lets you select any cooking speed you want. Full speed cooks almost everything in 1/4 the usual time. Medium or low is perfect for tender cooking or creating gourmet favorites. Slide Cookmatic to simmer for full-bodied stews and casseroles. Amana radar range microwave ovens with Cookmatic power shift puts you in full control of everything you cook.
George Allen versus Bud Grant here this afternoon in Bloomington, Minnesota. And Irv, you played for George for 3 years out in Los Angeles, and he is all football.
No question about that, Brent. You know, I can't help but reflect about all the discussion about the weather here in Minnesota. You know, George Allen says no matter what the weather is, it's Redskin weather. We felt the same way in L.A. when we came in to play Green Bay in a championship game for playoff. But George is a very intense man. He's football 100%, and as far as he's concerned, every play could be your last one today. They'll play it like their lives depend on it.
Interesting thing what you told me about George. They went to him and said, shall we introduce your offense or your defense? He said, introduce all 43 players.
Scoffed as legitimate contenders this season by most, the Washington Redskins silently strung together 10 wins for a playoff berth as the NFC wild card and rewarded football fans who still believe in miracles and miracle makers like George Allen. George, you said that this season was the most difficult coaching year you've had, but yet could be the most satisfying. When you recap the season, where would you say the high point of the season was for your ball club?
Well, I suppose it was that, and I've said this, that we've been buried 4 times, but no doctor pronounced us dead. And it was probably last week beating Dallas in Dallas, a must game. We had the Cardinal score, and the monkey was on our backs, and the team came through with a great effort, and we outplayed Dallas and deserved to win.
What did you have to do to beat Minnesota, Coach?
Well, Irv, I was just saying that we've never played a team, being a defensive player, you'd appreciate this. We've never played a team that had 3 receivers, all catching over 50 passes, and a guy coming out of the backfield that made 1,000 yards. So that's quite a challenge. I know that we're going to have to play a great defensive game because Tarkington is having another outstanding year. There's no better guy at reading the dogs than Tarkington and getting away from the rush, and he's in control of the situation all the time. Our offense, by the way, is going to have to keep the ball away from Fran, and that's the best way to beat them. So we have to play a complete game to beat Minnesota. We're the underdog again, and we've been the underdog so much this year that if they made us a favorite, it might throw somebody off a little bit.
You know, Irvin, Phyllis George Allen's the kind of a coach who, when he doesn't have anything to do, he goes down to the office and diagrams football plays. All right, now, Bud Grant...
ice cream.
Bud Grant's, while he's diagramming plays. Grant's a little bit different. He has a very private side to him.
He certainly does. I really enjoyed talking to him. I've heard a lot about Bud Grant, the stone-faced man. Yet the atmosphere yesterday at the practice, as you both know, was very loose. They were having fun, and there was a lot of confidence out there on that field. It's very interesting. He wants to win. There's no doubt about it.
You know, it's traditional up here that Minnesota does not have any heaters behind the bench. Bud Grant said, win the Super Bowl, and next year you get the heaters.
Right on. Coach Grant, could you give me a weather report?
Well, the weather report is good, really. It looks like it's going to be about 45 degrees and sunny with very little wind and very unseasonable. Maybe it's a good omen for us.
You're looking for snow tomorrow?
I hope not. We've gotten this far without that, and I think we'd all like to have it just like we have gotten, or just like we've had all year.
I left my long johns at home. Thank goodness. I love the sunshine.
Well, maybe you can save them, and hopefully you can use them next week.
Oh, we'll see. That's a strong possibility. But I have to ask you this. Many people have said to me, if you can make Bud Grant smile at you, Phyllis, that's 1 point for you. You stand along the sidelines. We've watched you all year. You're very serious, very straight-faced, and there's a great sense of humor underneath all that.
Well, of course, football is a very serious business, and I'm tied up with a headset, and I'm talking upstairs, and I have a very short cord, and I'm chewing gum, and you know, a lot of things going on. But the people who comment on it really don't know me. I don't know any of the commentators personally, and I don't think I know any of them socially. It's the first time I've met you, so maybe there's another side to a football coach.
Will you smile at me, please?
Say something funny.
You chew gum better than any coach in the NFL.
Well, I've got a lot of practice, 20 years of it.
You have a resort area, a place where you can kind of go away and get away from all this hectic pace up in Gordon, Wisconsin with the family, Pat and the 6 kids.
Yes.
Do you love that?
Well, it's a year-round home, really, is what it is, a second home. And we go up there winter, summer, enjoy all the outdoor activities that this area has to provide us.
You're a very private person.
Yes, although I know everybody in Gordon, Wisconsin, that's for sure. And we enjoy it up there a great deal. We fish and hunt and snowmobile or whatever, you know, outdoor camping, canoeing, boating, water skiing.
Sounds terrific.
Well, it is. The only thing is football is a tough life because we start in July and work 7 days a week right up until now.
You deserve that vacation. But Fran Tarkington said the key to the success of the Minnesota Vikings is Bud Grant. You have tremendous respect from your players as a human being. That's got to be a terrific feeling inside.
Well, I think it works both ways. I have great respect for the players we have. We have great leadership on our ball club, as you know, a great deal of maturity. And coaches reflect in what the players do. You know, the greatest coach in the world can't make a football team. You have to have players and players that can adapt to situations and what you're doing. And on this ball club, we have that, and I've reflected in the accomplishments that they've had.
Do you like recognition?
I think the worst part of this business is the recognition that you receive. I love football. I like working in the arena, but the recognition, I think they could pass around a little bit more.
And you're a great family man. Glad to hear that.
Well, we've got a great family to work with.
And I've got a piece of gum for you. In fact, I've got 2 pieces, so you can chew it tomorrow.
Well, that'll probably get me through the first minute.
Well, here's 2 then.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I saw him before the game, folks, and he's chomping on that gum. And I might mention that I spoke with Pat, his wife, yesterday at the Minnesota Vikings luncheon, and she said, Phyllis, he's been coaching for 20 years, and she said, I live with him. He wants a big win.
All right, we're about to bring in Jimmy the Greek, and the Greek and I are about to get into a disagreement about what's going to happen in this football game as the NFL Today continues on CBS in just a moment. We'll be the first one.
Here's a space-age gift for kids from Radio Shack. The original Space Patrol walkie-talkie. You get 2 for just $14.95 a pair, and they really work. They're crystal-controlled and battery-operated, just like Dad's bigger CB units. And they're built in Radio Shack's own electronics factory. So this Christmas, thrill your kids with a $14.95 a pair Space Patrol. Only at Radio Shack. A Tandy company.
AutoTrain introduces its new luxury service to Florida. You'll be served entrees like coq au vin, filet of snapper, shrimp curry, fine French wine. There's live entertainment and movies. You'll need reservations, so call now, toll-free. The AutoTrain to Florida. For for your car and you. It's the most gracious train service America has seen since the golden age of railroad travel.
Jimmy the Greek is sponsored by the Masters at Dutch Masters Cigars.
All right, Greek, you have scared the three of us to death the last 48 hours, walking all over Minneapolis and saying Washington's going to beat the Vikings. Now, you come in here and justify that for me.
Well, I didn't say Washington would beat the Vikings. I just said that it was going to be a real tough game, and whoever gets the break will win it.
That's not the way I heard it. Listen, Fran Tarkenton has got all kinds of weapons. They got a dry field. They got sunshine. Look at your board now carefully. Now, obviously, Minnesota is the favorite in this game. I just think Tarkenton will be able to do all kinds of things today.
Well, I don't know whether he's going to do all kinds of things, because that defensive secondary of the Redskins has been tremendous, and they'll try to stop this kid,
They
which
can't
is
stop
White.
Sammy White. Nobody else has, Jimmy.
He's a phenom. He's a phenom. No question about it. He and Rashad. But they'll be double covered, so that'll force Mr. Tarkenton to go to Foreman on those short passes.
Here's that secondary you've been raving about.
They are great.
Kenny Houston, I got to tell you, he's magnificent.
Washington hasn't given up anything in the defensive secondary the last 7 games.
Now, what about the kicking game and the controversy over the cock shoe and everything?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If you can't kick, whatever you put in the shoe isn't going to help you. We're still going to give the edge to Washington.
All right. Later today in the AFC, of course, we've got the game between Oakland and New England. And the Oakland Raiders are so strong, and they're at home, too, Jimmy.
Well, they've got the quarterback that can pass. He's the greatest quarterback in football today, regardless of what anybody does.
And that outside speed, guys like Cliff Branch. But New England bottled him up the last time they played.
I know, but they were unknown at the time. Let's see what they do now in the big game. Branch will make it.
All right, but I'll tell you, the Patriots have got probably the best running game in the AFC right now. Those guys can move the ball.
That's right, 1,500 yards between two fullbacks. What's going to happen here is that Oakland will probably stack up against the run and give Grogan the pass to Stingley or Bataha.
Fairbanks used that 3-4 down there at Oklahoma. He's going to know how to attack it with these guys in the offensive line. France, Hanna, Linkaitis, we're going to blow out your defensive line.
Don't forget Gregg.
And here's Grogan.
Well, he supplements the running game, no question about it. But Mr. Hendricks will take care of him today.
All right. So now if I understand this today, the Greek has got Oakland and Washington, and we'll negotiate the numbers a little.
You keep talking about Washington. We just said it's going to be an edge game. It's a razor's edge.
You better stay in here behind locked doors.
And the NFL today will continue on CBS if Jimmy agrees to stick around in just a moment.
Do I see a gun up there?
Introducing Dutch Masterpieces. Dutch Masters gift cigar tins inspired by 19th century collector's items. Now you can have the fun of giving them too. This one holds 25 great tasting presidents. And this one, 25 mild Dutch Masters Panatellas. Get them now where gift wrap boxes of 50 Dutch Masters are featured. See why there really are masters at Dutch Masters?
All right, Greek, tomorrow we go down to Dallas, Los Angeles, and the Cowboys. What's the Rams quarterback situation?
Hayden will play, definitely.
All right, now tell me about some of the coaches around the NFL. What kind of changes can we anticipate?
Atlanta will fire all the assistants and keep Pepler in some capacity. The Lions will probably delete Hudspeth Monday, and Denver will probably take care of Ralston on Tuesday.
What's the number on there being a pro football draft? You got an art on that, Jimmy?
Well, I tell you, at this point in time, you better ask St. Peter. I mean, Pete Rozelle.
All right. Listen, you stay inside the van when the game starts. There's some Minnesota folks looking for you out there. All right? The NFL today will continue with a look at the most intriguing personality in this game on CBS in just a moment.
When the Dutch Masters tobacco buyer comes to Colombia, South America, he visits tobacco dealers like me, Lorenzo Hernandez. He's looking for only the top grades of tobacco for Dutch Masters. And he knows all the Masters' tricks to make sure he finds them. Like this. Now you know why a Dutch Masters like the Panatella has such good taste. There really are masters at Dutch Masters.
Jimmy the Greek is sponsored by the Masters at Dutch Masters Cigars.
Tell me about Bill Malinchak.
Incredible story, Brent. Bill Malinchek had been retired for 2 years and went to a game in New York to see the Redskins and Giants play, and George Allen saw him on the sideline, had him come in and give the pregame pep talk and said, Bill, you got to come back to us and join our special teams. And he came back and signed the contract.
The last time I saw Bill Malinchek was at your cocktail party. He was hitting that circuit. He'd really retired from pro football.
In fact, he was reminiscing that night, if you remember, and we just talked to him on the field out here, and he said, I was as shocked as you all are.
It is so intriguing to listen to Bill Malinchek tell Irv how you block a punt.
Defining it a little bit more, nobody even considered punt blocking. You know, people say, well, you know, how do you block punts? And it goes against all the laws of nature. Running in, letting a punter kick the ball in your face. I mean, it's just not natural to go in there and practice that every day. Nobody really excelled at punt blocking. And I took the cue and I thought, well, maybe I can change some games, maybe win some games if I learn how to really block punts. And that's really what I set out to do. I wanted to, you know, become the greatest punt blocker that ever, you know, played the game. And when he called me, we didn't even mention money. I thought coming back with the Redskins, being back and playing, trying to help, possibly going to the Super Bowl is enough fulfillment. And if we do that, they can do with whatever they want with the money.
As you've told me, he is George Allen's good luck charm. But, you know, Minnesota has got a fella by the name of Nate Allen who's had an incredible year. He's blocked everything.
The Vikings, of course, of a team have blocked 13 kicks, but Nate Allen is the guy they want to spring free to make the big play for them.
Let's take a look now at Nate Allen in action against Detroit. And this is the man Washington's got to watch, isn't it?
Right, he's on the wing. He'll come from either the outside or the inside. They work a game with the linebacker to have that linebacker take the wing back inside, and Allen's fast enough to break through. Now, here he blocks a punt. Brent, now watch this. This punt is blocked. Actually, he picks up the ball here on the rebound. He got it in the air, went all the way for the score, and he's a big play player.
You know, Irv, a few years ago, didn't Malinchek come in here with Washington and block a Minnesota punt in a playoff game?
He did, and that's very high on his mind today. He thinks he can do it again today.
But I'm wondering, because last week he blocked one of the Dallas punts. Now, you would think in breaking down the films, Irv, that they would pay particular attention to where Malinchek lines up today.
Well, you can do certain things on kick blocks there, but if you put 3 men against 2 on the line of scrimmage, one of the 3 men will be free, and that's what the Redskins and the Minnesota Vikings do.
No, the kicking game has become so important in the National Football League, and we always overlook it. We always talk about the quarterbacks and the defense, and you wait for a game like this to come to a conclusion, and usually it's a kicking game or a mistake that turns it around.
I don't think you'll see too many mistakes in this game, though. Everybody's playing this game like every play is their last one.
Irv, you're going to go over on the sidelines and work with Vin Scully and Paul Hornung, and, of course, all of us will be back at halftime. I think you're going to see a tremendous football game. And, again, the weather is magnificent today in Bloomington, Minnesota. For Jimmy the Great, Irv Cross, and lovely Phyllis George, this is Brent Musburger saying we hope you enjoy the NFL Today on CBS.
The NFL Today is sponsored by Cotton Incorporated, the fiber company of America's cotton producers. Ford and your local Ford dealer who say when America needs a better idea, Ford puts it on wheels. And by the Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. Stay tuned as the NFL Today continues after this word from your local station. The Peanuts Gang brings joy to the world when they find the true meaning of the Yuletide season in the Emmy Award-winning special A Charlie Brown Christmas, tonight at 8, 7 Central on CBS.
From Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota, CBS Sports presents the NFC Divisional Playoff, the Washington Redskins versus the Minnesota Vikings. Hi, everybody. I'm Vin Scully along with Paul Hornung, and I guess in the pregame show, we've exploited just about everything, the weather, the psychology, the kicking shoe, but let's get to the strategy involved. And, Paul, first of all, Billy Kilmer, a veteran leader, what's on his mind primarily?
Yesterday, he point-blank told me, Paul, I've got to improve my strong side passing attack. We've got to get the football to Roy Jefferson a little bit more. We have not gone to the strong side, and that is the side where Gene Fugate will line up.
If
They
there's
have to
one
throw
other
the football.
thing, besides throwing it, I guess you'd have to say they have to run the ball a great deal.
They sure do. They know they have to control the football, keep the football away from Fran Tarkenton, because that's exactly what he does best. I think John Riggins would like to run the football 20 times, 20 to 22 times. Kilmer would like to get it to him that many times.
Now, on the other side of the coin, Fran Tarkenton, 61% completions this year, the most efficient quarterback around, and he'll go up against the most experienced secondary defensively for Washington.
He's got a few more weapons to work with, I think. Tarkenton has said this is the best pair of flankers he's ever thrown the football to. I personally have said this many times. Chuck Foreman is one of the most valuable backs I've ever seen play professional football. He can do it all. He can make the big play. They go to him in key situations. They haven't in the last couple of games. They haven't needed to.
Billy Kilmer and Fran Tarkenton both came into professional football in 1961. Tarkenton with 16 years, Kilmer with 15. He missed one because of an automobile accident, and they'll meet head-on here in Bloomington in just 1 minute.
Cotton keeps America comfortable. Cotton keeps America feeling natural.
I'd do anything for Bill. So when he said that he wanted comfortable, breathable cotton shirts, I bought him Natural Blend shirts with 60% or more cotton plus durable press. So Bill gets cotton comfort and I get easy care. Natural Blend is great because I'd do anything for Bill, except iron shirts.
When you're looking for comfort, look for the seal of cotton. The more cotton, the better you feel.
The Alaskan Pipeline, one of the largest construction projects since the pyramids. And the men who are making it have to give it all they've got, or they don't make it.
Quitting time! Come on, guys, let's go!
And up here, quitting time is Miller time. Time to head for the best tasting beer you can find. Miller High Life, America's quality beer since 1855.
If you got the time, we got the beer. Miller beer. Miller tastes too good to hurry through. When it's time to relax, one beer stands clear. Beer after beer. If you got the time, we got the beer.
Miller Bar! Belly up, everybody!
If you got the time, we got the beer. Miller beer.
Author Stephen Potter, author of the famous book Gamesmanship, would be proud of what has just taken place because the Minnesota Vikings are making the Washington Redskins and George Allen wait. And after waiting a couple of minutes, here come the Purple Gang. So we talked about the psychology, and they are each playing bottom cards right now.
And Bud Grant might be saying, I read your book, George. I read your book. There goes the cheerleading little bit into effect. He's got this team. I tell you, both these coaches are, I think, their character is reflected by their team. Kilmer, of course, very excitable. He talks football like anybody would talk in the 8th or 9th grade. He loves it. He'll do anything to win, and George Allen the same way. Bud Grant, the cold, icy stare, but a winner. Players, I think the one word here, Ben, is respect. Both these teams respect the boss.
You know, in the pregame poker game that they are playing, when George Allen was asked, which of your teams would you like to introduce? And George said, all 43. So then they went to Grant and said, Bud, what about you? And he said, okay, then all 43 of mine. So they're matching card for card thus far. And, of course, the shoe came up. Then later on, George Allen talked about the explosiveness of the Vikings. Bud Allen said, oh, go on. Washington is loaded with receivers and runners. Then George pointed out that his club is weakened somewhat because of 5 flu cases, and Bud Grant in Minnesota would not swallow that.
Somebody came up to me and asked me about Mike Thomas. Would he play? He's got the flu. And I said, he only practiced 1 day this week, but don't worry about it. He'll be in there. Let's go.
Call a toss. Call it while it's in the air.
Tails.
Tails he called. Heads it is. Heads it is. All right. Won the toss.
So the
Minnesota
Vikings
won the toss,
Ben, and they like that football.
Good luck, gentlemen.
Okay, so if that is a good sign for Minnesota, it's not reflected in the gestures of Bud Grant, stoic, unflappable, even though his mates appear to feel it's a very good sign. They jump in the air, and Bud just chews his gum, and implacable as always. awaits the starting kickoff. So Minnesota will receive. They will go left to right on your screen. And for the Washington special unit, they are about as tough. And we'll talk about that after our national anthem. Magnificent day here in Bloomington. The fine officials infuse capable hands this ball game rest. Referee Bob Frederick, umpire Gordon Wells, and you have Ray Dodas, Royal Cathcart, Pat Knight, and Bill O'Brien. Minnesota and Washington all set to go. Washington 10 victories, 4 defeats. It is the 4th time they come in as a wild card. That's Leonard Willis going deep for Minnesota, and he'll be flanked on the left by Robert Miller. And up short on his right will be Sammy White, number 85. Mark Mosley will tee it up for the Washington Redskins. And in 1 or 2 moments, we'll get underway. There is a very light breeze out of the southwest, about 8 miles per hour. The temperature, about a half hour ago, they said 37. It's going up to the 40s, and it seems even warmer than that.
Then Mark Mosley has the reputation of being the best kickoff man in the National Football Conference. He gets the ball so high, you can see it tilted. It's about a 4.5 inch on that tee. He really gets a high kickoff.
Well, there we go. It's not so deep, although high. Robert Miller, short of the 20-yard line, out to the 30, covered and dragged down at about the 33-yard line. So Minnesota will take over first and 10. Ted Fritsch down there to make the stop.
He didn't hit it too good.
For Minnesota, offensively, Steve Riley and Charles Goodrum, Mick Tinglehoff at center, Ed White, Ron Yeri, and the tight end, Stu Boyd. The men in the backfield, Fran Tarkenton, Brent McClanahan, and Chuck Foreman, and the wide receivers, Ahmad Rashad and Sammy White. So first and 10 on the 34 for Minnesota, and they open up slot right. Sammy White is inside Rashad right. Brent McClanahan to the 45, down to the Washington 30, and Kenny Houston follows him out of bounds at the Washington 25-yard line.
Oh, great blocking off the left side, a 41-yard pickup. That's the longest run from scrimmage for Brent McClanahan. Here it goes off the left side. They get a standoff. They knock Chris Hamburger to the outside, and McClanahan's got a big hole. He beat Harold McClinton, who's supposed to cover that gap from the middle linebacker position. Kenny Houston finally pushes him out.
We open up with a big play, and so Minnesota, first and 10 on the Washington 25. Again, Sammy White in the slot right. Second man through is Foreman, and he is decked hard. Fumble after the whistle, however. He got across the 25 down to the 23-yard line, even though Dyron Talbert came up. Let's take a look at the Washington defense. Joe Lavender made the hit. It was Ron McDole and Dave Butts, Dyron Talbert and Dennis Johnson up front. The linebackers, Brad Dusack, Harold McClinton, and Chris Hamburger. At the corners, Pat Fisher and Joe Lavender. And at safeties, Kenny Houston and Jake Scott.
That secondary will play man-to-man coverage 85% of the time. Very unusual today in pro football.
Second and 8 on the Washington 23. Here comes McClanahan following a Goodrum block, and he got across the 20-yard line. Charles Goodrum, number 68, leading the pack. Chris Hamburger finally brought him down.
Now they got Stu Boyd lined up on the weak side. He's the tight end, a slot situation, and they're double teaming at the point of attack. And Chuck Foreman has just put on 2 good blocks for McClanahan.
So it's 3rd and 3 on the Washington 18-yard line. The drive started on the Minnesota 34, and a 41-yard scamper by McClanahan put Minnesota in business. McClanahan all alone, rolling in front of Tarkinen, who's looking deep in the end zone, complete to Stu Voigt, shy, and he goes in for the touchdown.
Stu Voigt had his best day against the Redskins. The last time they played, he caught 8 passes. Targeted on a little rollout. He flooded the right zone, and he just waited for number 83, Stu Voigt, to find an open hole. We take an end zone shot. Now watch McClinton. Now watch Stu Voigt hook up and come back to the open hole. Targeted. He's a secondary receiver here. Stu Voigt, a good pair of hands, and he gets into the end zone with good second effort.
So Stu Voigt takes it over. They go 66 yards on that drive, and Fred Cox kicks. It's good. So Minnesota plays a trump card, a 41-yard run by Brent McClanahan, and then the short pass, Tarkenton to Voigt for the touchdown. 7-0 Vikings.
Could it be you in an LTD2? You'll never know till you try.
Introducing Ford LTD2. LTD2, a trimmer, sportier LTD at a trimmer price. Expect something different when you drive it.
Isn't it you in an LTD2? You'll never know till you try.
When America needs a better idea, Ford puts it on wheels.
Hey, genius, you knew the Remington radial would give you a close shave. You slave fox. You knew it had replaceable chromium edge blades for real closeness and an adjustable contoured head for unreal comfort. You're feeling pretty confident with your Remington, aren't you, pal? Now I believe in you, Remington, I believe in you.
7-0 Minnesota. In the early moments, we have 13:21 to go in the first quarter. And Fred Cox squinting up into the sun, preparing to kick. Deep is Eddie Brown, a premier returner for Washington. And we'll see whether Cox tries to go deep or short like he has been most of the year. Short.
He's against the wind. He's got a little wind against him.
It is trickling and going out of bounds, so they'll have to kick it over again. One thing we had asked George Allen before the ballgame, since Fred Cox has been a short kickoff man, would he put some backs up front rather than the usual heavy linemen to handle a ball? And he said, no, not backs necessarily, but I'm going to put my best athletes who can handle a ball up short. So when they line up again, it will do us well to mark up just who those men are.
It did, but Grant also counters with Fred Cox kicking to the right side, kicking the squib kick to the right. 95% of the time, he'll try that kick to his left.
So let's take a look at the Washington men. Eddie Brown is deep, and Stoutfield will get it. To his left is Danny Buggs. To his right is Bob Brunet. Rusty Tillman is on his 30-yard line, and he's flanked by Kuziel and Lortz. This one has some muscle to it. It'll be Eddie Brown at about the 13, 25, 30, 35. Down at about the 38-yard line. So Eddie Brown brings it back, and it was Mark Mullaney who made the hit to bring him down. And now Washington will put it in play. Say today at 5 o'clock Eastern, CBS Sports presents Davis Cup competition from Tucson. The United States team, comprised of Arthur Ashe, Roscoe Tanner, Stan Smith, and Bob Lutz, looking to revenge the upset losses of the last 2 years at the hands of the Mexican team. Davis Cup today at 5 Eastern. 1st and 10 from the 39. John Riggins, collared right at the 40-yard line. Let's take a look at the Minnesota defense. Well, first, the offense for Washington. Tim Stokes and Ron Saul. The center, Len Hawes. Dan Nugent starting for Terry Termeling and George Stark. Gene Fugit, the tight end. Quarterback Billy Kimmer with John Riggins and Mike Thomas. Frank Grant and Roy Jefferson, the wide receivers. So a pickup of 1 at 2nd and 9.
The only 2 losses this year by the Vikings. The 49ers gained 317 yards rushing, and the Rams gained over 230. So I'm sure George Allen's going to try to run the football and establish control.
Slot left with Grant inside Jefferson, and Mike Thomas gingerly running to about the 43-yard line, and it was Jeff Seaman who hit him first. And talking about Seaman, let's find out those men who are trying to hold on to that 7-0 lead. Carl Eller, Doug Sutherland, Alan Page, and Jim Marshall.
47 years of experience at defensive line.
Matt Blair, Jeff Seaman, and Wally Hilgenberg. Corners, Nate Wright and Nate Allen, with Jeff Wright and Paul Krause at safety. So it's 3rd and 5 from the 44, and they go slot right. Grant is inside Jefferson. Larry Brown is all alone now, staying in the block for Kilmer. And it's a little release and a heavy hit by Matt Blair, and he just buried Larry Brown. He tried to release his block and sneak across, and Blair wouldn't fall for it.
He had him zeroed in on the little delay. Watch Larry Brown. He bumps Alan Page a little bit. He's got the delay over the middle, and it's Matt Blair, 6'5", 230 with a... He's a defensive linebacker, Ben, with great reaction. This guy's going to be an all-pro. Only a 3-year veteran from Iowa State, but he is so quick.
Pressure now on Mike Bragg against a club that has blocked 13 various kicks. Leonard Willis is deep. On his right is Autry Beeman. On his left, Sammy White. Bragg averaging almost 39 yards a punt, and he hangs it high. Willis standing on his 16-yard line. Down he goes. He was hit and submarined by Ted Fritz and went down with Brunet right next to him. So Leonard Willis is bottled up, 7-0 in favor of Minnesota. We have 10 minutes and 53 seconds to go in the first quarter, so the chairs are barely warm here in Bloomington.
Where does your money go after you put it in your bank? Well, some of it's right here, building your neighborhood, construction loans and home mortgages. But also with municipal bonding, money for your public parks, and money for your schools. Today, America's banks have over $80 billion invested in communities like yours. So if you believe in your community, there's no better place to put your money than your bank. America's bankers, helping you change things for the better.
Hey, if your car has lost its pep and power and life is passing you by, if your fuel gauge seems to be the only thing that moves, it's time to see an AC Delco serviceman about a tune-up. He likely has the training, the tools, the know-how, and of course, quality AC spark plugs and Delco Remy ignition parts to help restore your car's performance. So see your AC Delco serviceman and put pep and power back into your car.
First and 10 for Minnesota on their own 18-yard line. Slot right, Sammy White is inside Ahmad Rashad. And it's Foreman trying to get inside a McClanahan block, but he's stacked up just shy of the 20-yard line by Dyron Talbert.
Well, they're really testing the defensive right side of that Washington Redskin defense. This is the 3rd or 4th play. Very early here in the 4th quarter, they've gone almost always to the left side. Double team at the point. They're double teaming Chris Hanberger.
2nd and 8. The ball on the Minnesota 20-yard line. The Vikings leading 7-0. A 41-yard run by Brent McClanahan put him in business. Tarkinen passed to Stu Boyd, who carried it over for the touchdown. Tarkinen going down the right side, intended for Sammy White. Pat Fisher, along with Kenny Houston. Fisher complaining that he had been bumped by Sammy White, but to no avail. Friends, this telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Minnesota Vikings and the National Football League is prohibited. Roy Jefferson taking a breather. He hadn't had much to do yet. Washington has only had the ball for 3 plays and a punt. And of course, that is one of the big strengths of Minnesota. They lead the league in possession. They average better than 72 plays a game. 3rd and 8 on their 20.
Nickel defense, they've got an extra defensive back. Trey Goins is in.
Tarkinen looking left. A wobbly pass intended for Rashad. No good.
It was deflected at the line of scrimmage. Redskins went into the extra defensive back on passing situation.
So Minnesota will now be forced to punt from their own 20-yard line, and that means a little heat on Neil Clabo. One thing about the Washington Redskins, statistician Bud Goody points it out, they are number one in a category that's not talked about too much. If you average what you gain and what you give up in punts and kickoffs, subtract one from the other, you'd find that Washington would be number one in both departments. Clabo kicking from the 10. And he hits an arrow to the Washington 40. Eddie Brown has to back up, heading for the sideline, still on his feet, across the 45-yard line, and down he goes on the Minnesota 44. And so Washington, starting off with his strength, they're in good field position.
That's why he leads the National Football Conference, averaging over 13 yards a punt return. Fast Eddie Brown. I'll tell you, when he gets on the outside, he had a 71-yard touchdown return early in the year against St. Louis. There it is, 738 yards on kickoff return, 646 on punt.
That was a 40-yard kick and a 17-yard return. 1st and 10 from the Minnesota 45. Slot right. Jefferson is wide left. Kilmer looking left and intended for Jefferson, and it's going to be juggled and intercepted by Minnesota, and it was Bobby Bryant who made the tackle. The football.
They had his own defense. Here's Kimmel. They call this a waggle. He goes to the weak side, and it's right there in the middle of the zone where he's trying to hit Roy Jefferson. A good interception. Bobby Bryant, his 3rd interception of the year.
Well, Minnesota very much controlling the ball game from the moment they won the toss. And now they have it back, 1st and 10 on their own 30-yard line. 9:50 to go in the first quarter, 7-0 Minnesota. Rashad is right, White is left. Deep down the left side, picked off by Jake Scott to the 40-yard line. Stumbles, goes down on his own, and then the Vikes sit on him. So Jake Scott comes roaring back with his 5th interception of the year, and he also has recovered 5 fumbles, his 10th takeaway of the season.
Oh, what a year he's had. A great free safety. Now, Sammy White had everybody beaten by about a yard. Tarkenton did not get the football. Now, White went out of your picture. He actually was deep by a yard. The pass was short. Jake Scott comes up with the football.
So an exchange of interceptions by Bobby Bryant and now Jake Scott.
Man, nobody can count these Redskins out. Listen, they've been on the mat all year long. Bobby Lane of the 70s is quarterbacking the Redskins. Hold on to your hat.
Kilmer giving to Mike Thomas, and he gets down to the 30-yard line. A bear hug by Jeff Seaman and Matt Blair to bring him down. Mike Thomas, a slightly sore ankle, also bothered somewhat by the flu, but he didn't figure he would be hurting for this one.
Bud Grant on the sidelines with his man, Fran Tarkenton. Going over a little strategy now.
2nd and a long 4 for Billy Kilmer, slot left with Grant inside Jefferson. Kilmer giving to Mike Thomas, and he's hammered at the 30-yard line. Wally Hilgenberg, the first man, Doug Sutherland, and Jeff Seaman all put it to him.
Doug Sutherland is probably the most underrated guy in this defensive line. There you see him. Now watch him follow the flow. This is great pursuit. That offside tackle was supposed to cut him. He cuts back, and Sutherland is right there, along with Seaman and a host of others.
3rd and 4. Line of scrimmage, the Viking 30-yard line.
47 years of experience at defensive front four. The Purple Gang from Minnesota.
Frank Grant wide left. Roy Jefferson wide right. Tight end is on the right side with Mike Thomas in motion. Larry Brown all alone. The pass behind Thomas. He turns and dropped it.
Got a first down.
He sure did. So Mike Thomas just turned and couldn't hold on to it. Interesting to point out, in the first 10 games, Mike Thomas fumbled 7 times. In the last 4 games, he did not drop one ball in over 90 carries, and then he let one get away.
Took his eye off of it, Van. He wanted to run with the football before. Now we're going to see Mark Mosley.
Mark Mosley is number 1 in the NFC in points with 97. He also is number 1 in the NFL with 22 field goals. They will spot the ball on the Viking 37-yard line. Joe Theismann will hold, though it's a 47-yard field goal attempt. He thundered it, and it's good.
Oh, what a kick.
Boy, he can bomb them. His longest was 49, and he just kicked one for 47.
Boy, he didn't have any problem with it. That went through with about 7 yards to spare.
8 minutes and 15 seconds to go in the first quarter, and that's part of the story.
I'm a carpenter, and here at Sears, you get all the tools you need.
We're at a Sears store to find out why Sears is where America shops.
If one of your Sears tools should happen to break, you bring it back, no questions.
Everything I got is just about Craftsman because I can buy replacement parts very easily.
I really don't think there's a tool they don't have.
My father has Craftsman tools. He put in the will who's going to get them. So no one fights over them.
Sears, where America shops.
The railroads. Ever since the energy crisis, they've been busier than ever moving our #1 source of electricity, coal. This year, Burlington Northern will move enough coal from the west to supply energy for over 10 million homes. And Burlington Northern is adding even more trains and facilities to meet the nation's future energy needs and keep America running.
Mark Mosley's 47-yard field goal gets Washington on the board at 7-3 Minnesota. 8 minutes and 15 seconds to go in the first quarter.
Boy, they're going right after each other. Absolutely. Exciting football game. The offense, Minnesota always seems to move the ball very well in the first half. He missed it again.
Missed it low, so coming up is Leonard Willis. He'll take it at the 16-yard line across the 30. And dragged down as he got across the 30 to the 31-yard line. Jerry Williams was on the top, and Stu Odell at the bottom. Say tomorrow, CBS Sports presents the NFL Playoff, pitting the Los Angeles Rams against the Dallas Cowboys. The action beginning at 5 p.m. Eastern with the NFL Today pregame show. Of course, for Minnesota, another thought, if they win, they will host the winner of the Dallas Ram game. And, of course, if Washington wins, being the wild card, they have to play on the road. 1st and 10 on the Minnesota 32. McClanahan in motion, and there goes Foreman. Out across the 35-yard line. A good piece of individual effort for a pickup of 3.
Again, they're going against, on their offensive left side. That's Steve Raleigh and Charles Goodwin, the tackle and left guard over there. Harold McClinton made that stop. There's Fred McNeil on the bench.
2nd and 6, the ball on just over the Minnesota 35-yard line. 7-3 Vikings. Sammy White in a slot right, inside Rashad. Steve Hoyt on the left side. McClanahan, grabbed by Big Dave Butts right at the line of scrimmage. End of story.
Dave Butts, 6'7", 290. He's listed about 285, but some friends on the Redskins say he's about $3. You can weigh him in about 300.
Oh, it'd make it 3rd and 7. The ball still on the 35-yard line.
And this is where Chuck Foreman is very, very dangerous. They come up in a split backfield. If they don't flank him, they can do so many things with him. Yeah, they're going to put him in a slot left. Oh, it's coming back on the right side now.
Comes on the right side. Pat Fisher is over there defending. Tarkinen looking over the middle, now decides to go wide left to Voigt. And Voigt at the 40 is finally jerked out of bounds. Hamburger along with Lavender. You know, in that secondary for Washington, they, in the last half of the season, they have only allowed 33% of passes thrown to be complete. That's number 1. Their secondary has really come alive.
Now, Tarkinen looked that defensive secondary over, and they are unquestionably the best man-to-man coverage probably in the National Football League because they play so much of it. Foreman tried to get the football on that little pass. He was covered, and Tarkinen went to Voigt again.
Neil Clabo will be punting from his 30-yard line. Eddie Brown is standing just shy of his own 25. 2-on-1, but way over on the left side for the Skins, so they can't get anybody in on the kicker. Brown fielding it on his 15. He goes down just shy of the 25-yard line and hit by a gang. McNeil was the first man, then Dumler, and at the bottom was Wendland Hall.
Oh, and Pete Wysocki almost took a couple of heads off. He's a wild man on those special teams, a second-year man from Western Michigan. Very valuable on those special teams. He plays hard. See if we can pick him up coming down on trying to get into the wedge here. Nope, couldn't catch it.
1st and 10 for Washington on their own 25-yard line. Remember, the pass interception on the Viking 36 set them up for their field goal. I will see how they go in their own territory. John Riggins staggered. He was hit so hard at the line of scrimmage. What was it Billy Kilmer was saying? He would like to have Riggins carry about 20 times, but if he's hit and staggered like that, he'll never make it.
I tell you, it's going to be a long afternoon. This Minnesota Viking defense, look at that play by 69 Doug Southern. He really didn't make the stop, but he made a spin there and clogged up the hole on Riggins.
He just turned his back on Riggins, and that's a pretty good back for Riggins to run into. Meanwhile, McClanahan getting his own instructions on the sideline. 2nd and 10 from the 25. Grant right, Jefferson left, second man is Thomas. Thomas actually had trouble because John Riggins was leading the play. Jeff Seaman just stopped Riggins straight up, so Thomas ran right into Riggins' back. He had nowhere to go.
Yeah, they're going right at the strength of Alan Page and Doug Sutherland, right in the gut.
Gets the ball out to the Washington 29-yard line. Make it 3rd and 6. Riggins figures to be most important in leading the play. Frank Grant goes wide left. Roy Jefferson wide right. And Larry Brown is in there. He'll stay back. Kilmer looking. Bad pass over the middle. The point of that ball was down. It looked like a runaway gyroscope intended for Mike Thomas. Nate Allen just watched that spinning top hit the ground.
He pulled the strings on it.
He goes down just shy of the 25-yard line and hit by a gang. McNeil was the first man, then Dumler, and at the bottom was Wimblin Hall.
Oh, and Pete Wysocki almost took a couple of heads off. He's a wild man on those special teams, a second-year man from Western Michigan. Very valuable on those special teams. He plays hard. See if we can pick him up coming down on trying to get into the wedge here. Nope, couldn't catch it.
1st and 10 for Washington on their own 25-yard line. Remember, the pass interception on the Viking 36 set them up for their field goal. I will see how they go in their own territory. John Riggins staggered. He was hit so hard at the line of scrimmage. What was it Billy Kilmer was saying? He would like to have Riggins carry about 20 times, but if he's hit and staggered like that, he'll never make it.
I tell you, it's going to be a long afternoon. This Minnesota Viking defense, look at that play by 69 Doug Southern. He really didn't make the stop, but he made a spin there and clogged up the hole on Riggins.
He just turned his back on Riggins, and that's a pretty good back for Riggins to run into. Meanwhile, McClanahan getting his own instructions on the sideline. 2nd and 10 from the 25. Grant right, Jefferson left, second man is Thomas. Thomas actually had trouble because John Riggins was leading the play. Jeff Seaman just stopped Riggins straight up, so Thomas ran right into Riggins' back. He had nowhere to go.
Yeah, they're going right at the strength of Alan Page and Doug Sutherland, right in the gut.
Gets the ball out to the Washington 29-yard line. Make it 3rd and 6. Riggins figures to be most important in leading the play. Frank Grant goes wide left. Roy Jefferson wide right. And Larry Brown is in there. He'll stay back. Kilmer looking. Bad pass over the middle. The point of that ball was down. It looked like a runaway gyroscope intended for Mike Thomas. Nate Allen just watched that spinning top hit the ground.
He pulled the strings on it. You'll see Mike Thomas. He's working one-on-one with the linebacker. He cuts over the middle. Vikings had a stun on. Redskins picked it up right there. Way low.
So Billy Kilmer thus far is 1 for 4. Fran Tarkenton is 2 for 5 and a touchdown.
We've seen Kilmer so many times start off slow. He picks up the momentum as the game gets along. Quite a competitor. My kind of guy.
Mike Bragg punting from the 15-yard line. Leonard Willis all alone, just shy of his own 30. Here come the Vikings, but he got it away. Good hang time. Willis will call a fair catch. Shy of his 35. If he hadn't, Jerry Williams might have knocked him out of state. So the Vikings will take over 1st and 10 on their own 34-yard line. Let's go down to Irv Cross.
Vin, we have a lot of people standing around us here, but I was charting the pattern of the game, and it looks like the Washington offense right now is trying to work to their running backs instead of their wide receivers. Remember the quick post to Jefferson was intercepted by Bobby Bryant? The Viking defense is playing this corner. It's real tough.
All right, the Vikes now, 1st and 10 on their own 34. Tarkenton getting good block, throws to McClanahan. He's at the 45 and finally dragged down just shy of the 50 by Harold McClinton.
Yeah, that's the 3rd pass completion for Tarkenton, and every one of them here in the first quarter, Vin, has been to his secondary receivers. Now, you'll see McClanahan delay, come out. He's looking downfield. He comes back to the open man, McClanahan, as he should do. McClanahan stopped by Pat Fisher and McClinton.
Picked up 15 yards on the pass. 1st and 10 on the Viking 49-yard line. 3:46 to go in the first quarter. Rashad right, White left. Chuck Foreman, a good block by McClanahan. And Foreman inside the 40. Oh, what a block by Brent McClanahan to open up the door.
If I've said this once, I've said it 20 times. Chuck Foreman always defeats the first tackler, especially in open field. Now watch this move. And a great block by McClanahan. Now watch Foreman's move coming up here. Boy, he sets. He doesn't waste time blocking. He's gone. He goes by that first tackler. He finally pulled down by number 51.
1st and 10 on the Washington 39-yard line. Foreman again to the 35-yard line. They tried to strip the ball from him, and Kenny Houston wound up with it, but it was after the whistle.
Chuck Foreman again. They go to their strong point, and he's the back that makes everything happen for the Minnesota Vikings. Get out of my way. Let me get through there. Gets a good hit by Kenny Houston. What a safety he is. Jake Scott says without question he's the best football player he's ever lined up with.
2nd and 6 on the Washington 35-yard line. 2:30 to go in the first quarter. Slot left, White inside Rashad. Play action fake to Foreman. Tarkenton to McClanahan. Jake Scott was just able to get him out, but he has the first down inside the 30.
I'll tell you, Tarkenton is really mixing up his plays. Great sequence of plays by Fran Tarkenton. 16 years in the league, and I tell you, he knows, I guess he knows as much as any coach or anybody sitting in the press box. He can control the game then.
1st and 10 for Minnesota on the Washington 29-yard line. This started on the Viking 34. Sammy White wide right, Rashad left, Voigt the tight end on the right side. Chuck Foreman stumbled. Actually, he tripped over the foot of Dave Butts and lunged forward for a yard. Ron McDowell falling on him. Ron McDowell, along with Pat Fisher and center Mick Tinglehoff of Minnesota, all played together at Nebraska, so it's somewhat old-time week here. 1:20 on the boards to go in the first quarter. 2nd and 9, the ball on the Washington 27-yard line. Bob Brunet, Tim Stokes taking a breather, but they want to watch the action. 2nd and 9 from the 27. Foreman in a slot left. And McClanahan releases, but they're going deep. And down there is Rashad. He can't do it. With him and fighting him all the way was Joe Lavender, who at 6'4", was able to climb the ladder and break it up, even though the fans down in that corner felt that Lavender might have been putting a little black and blue on the purple.
I think Lavender was hoping for a little protection from the inside, and Jake Scott, he didn't get over there. Lavender, Rashad had his man beaten by about a yard right there, but Lavender makes a good defensive play, I think unbeknown to him. He didn't see the football.
Had intercepted 8 passes this year for the Skins. Kenny Houston has 4, Pat Fisher 5, and Jake Scott picked off his 5th today. They had 27 interceptions in that backfield. 3rd and 9 with a minute left to go in the quarter. 7-3 Minnesota. With White in a slot right. Tarkenton looping it down the middle, juggled, and he caught it, or did he not? He caught it, touchdown. Sammy White makes an incredible catch.
He's been doing it all year long. Sammy White, the rookie out of Grambling. That's his 11th touchdown pass. Now watch this. Ken Houston almost comes up with the interception here. What a juggling act. Houston will step in front. He's going for the interception. He's got his hands on it.
Now it's a loose football. Now watch Sammy White's great balance. Once. He keeps his eye right there twice, and he cradles the football. 6 points Vikings.
One of the great catches of this year or any year by rookie Sammy White. That's his 11th touchdown pass. Fred Cox will try to make it 14-3 Minnesota. And he kicked it out of sight. Very good. 14-3 Minnesota. For Sammy White, that is his 11th touchdown pass. For a rookie, Bob Hayes has 12 in 1965. For a Minnesota rookie, Paul Flatley caught 51 in 63. Jerry Reichow had 11 touchdowns in 61. And this is number 11 for Sammy White, and he'll never make a better one.
Ben, watch how easily he runs. He doesn't look like he's running here. Of course, we've got it in slow motion replay, but he always gets that half a step on the defense. And this, of course, is just a juggling act. Sammy White just does a great job of keeping his eye on the football, and it just happened to bounce right also. Great catch. Targeted 4 out of 8 here in the first quarter, 53 yards.
That catch might very well make Minnesota forget about Drew Pearson and Dallas and all of the things that happened last year.
That's gone. They forgot about that.
So Fred Cox teeing it up with Minnesota, striking twice on a first setup on a 41-yard run by McClanahan and a touchdown pass to Voigt, and then that remarkable catch. Eddie Brown will stand on the 5, and here he goes to the 25 and dragged down by Robert Miller at about the 28-yard line. Quickly, let's check in with Herb Cross.
Hey, Ben, you know that last touchdown pass by Sammy White, Ken Houston violated a basic rule of defensive backs. You can't intercept the ball, bat it down. He batted it up in the air. Sammy White made a great catch for the touchdown.
Sammy White made a great catch about 3 times on that pass. So it's first and 10 on the Washington 29. Time left 42 seconds in the first quarter. Grant in a slot inside Jefferson. Mike Thomas. Oh, what a hit. Across the 30-yard line. Seaman and Hilgenberg, and what Seaman did, he almost knocked his helmet off.
This is the most reckless I've seen Jeff Seaman play in a long time. I've always said a middle linebacker's got to have a little, he's got to play with reckless abandon, Butkus, Niski, Joe Schmidt, all your great middle linebackers just hurl their body at people, as Jeff Seaman did exactly that.
Picked up 3, 2nd and 7 at the 32 of Washington.
And you have to have a few maniacal tendencies to play that position, Lynn, believe me.
Boy, that was a wipeout. 2nd and 7, the ball on the Washington 32, 17 seconds to go in the first quarter. Mike Thomas, wide right, so they have really a double wing situation now. Riggins staying in the block. Tillman looking for Riggins, loops it to him, but he's buried by Matt Blair. Blair just reading that playbook of Washington. They tried to dump off one before, and Matt wouldn't go for it. He's a photographer, and he really's got the picture.
Then the Vikings are playing like they're all rookies. Boy, I've never seen this team play with so much emotion. Look at, they're covering everybody. Pursuit.
So Minnesota electrifying the home crowd, leading by 11.
The size reductions of some 77 cars are making news. Time says an amazing shrinking act. Newsweek calls it the big scale down. Well, the size changes are significant. For example, the Ford LTD now has a longer wheelbase and is longer and wider than Chevrolet Caprice or Impala. In fact, the Ford LTD is now about the same size as the Cadillac DeVille. And LTD has more trunk space, is a little wider, even has more hip and shoulder room than the Cadillac, and of course Chevrolet. Yet LTD is priced not like the Cadillac, but comparably equipped. The Ford LTD is sticker priced like a downsized Chevrolet. So this year, when you pay a full-size price, make sure you get a full-size value, like Ford LTD. It has the full size of a Cadillac, yet it's priced like a downsized Chevrolet. When America needs a better idea, Ford puts it on wheels.
Do I pass or run with the ball? Time for a decision. If you're a teenager, you're near a decision on drinking. Now, I'm not telling you what to decide, but most young people know that drinking too much too often is not grown up, whatever your age. To help you make responsible decisions, write for information to Education Commission of the States, Box 687, Denver, Colorado, 80201.
Vin Scully along with Paul Horning welcoming you back to Bloomington, Minnesota. The Vikings leading 14-3, and we start the second quarter. Bud Grant talking to his players. They have certainly kept the momentum so far. And Washington now down by 11, putting the ball in play, 37 from their own 32. Larry Brown staying in to block. Kilmer deep on the left side, and a great diving catch by Jerry Smith across the 40-yard line. And the old tight end, smelling the money, made a big play for Jerry Smith. He holds a record for touchdown receptions for tight ends.
And they put him in on a passing situation. 12 years in the league. And what a catch here. Watch this dive. Now, if that ball had been thrown just a little bit softer, it might have been 7 because he had a step on the linebacker, Hilgenberg, and I think he would have outrun him.
So Jerry Smith, 12-year man who has caught 58 touchdown passes going into this game, makes a big reception to keep Washington very much alive on the Viking 38-yard line, 1st and 10. Jefferson right and Grant left. Play action fake, a wobbly pass overthrown. Paul Krause did not intercept it. It was intended for Frank Grant, and it was another one of those dead bird passes.
Well, that's the kind of pass I guess we'd have to say Billy Kilmer is favored for. He tried to drop it in between the zone here. Frank Grant was about 10 yards open. You saw Kilmer was hit just as he released the football. That caused that pass. And it was Alan Page who put the rush on him.
Well, Paul Krause short-hopping the ball, and that's all. And it'll be 2nd and 10 on the Viking 38-yard line. Jefferson right with Grant in a slot right. Gene Fugit, the tight end, is loose way off to the left. A draw to Mike Thomas looking for blocks, and he runs right into Carl Eller.
Carl Eller, 13 years in the league, going against George Stark, the offensive right tackle. And that's a good matchup. Stark, a 4-year veteran from Columbia, is going against one of the best in the business. 13 years out of the University of Minnesota.
Those are the numbers in the first quarter, and you can see total yards for Washington, only 18. That tells most of the story.
Well, they've come off the mat all year long. You cannot count the Redskins out. Gene Fugit, I've noticed, has been working man-to-man against Jeff Wright. You're going to see him, Kilmer try to get the ball to him pretty soon.
3rd and 8 on the 36. Kilmer setting up, and time is called. And a delay of the game, too much time, so the clock ran down. You might remember when Miami scored a touchdown against Minnesota last week, Bud Grant was quite positive the clock had run out before the touchdown pass.
Delay, offense, 3rd down.
Well, that makes it 3rd and 13. The ball spotted on the Viking 41. Roy Jefferson wide right. Gene Fugit, the tight end, on the right side, and Frank Grant wide left. It's Larry Brown and Mike Thomas staying in to block. The bomb deep down the left side. A flag on the play, and the interception by Bobby Bryant. And let's see how they rule it.
The second pass interception of the day. He was, it's going to be a call against the Redskins here.
Frank Grant, I believe, grabbed him.
He sure did. Frank Grant going down the left side, interfered with Bobby Bryant on the defense. Now watch it. There's his right hand here. He touched him. 42 yards on that pass, completion to the defense from the line of scrimmage.
Kilmer, coming into the game, had thrown 10 interceptions, and this will be the second he has surrendered if the play holds up. Tarkenton, as usual, very stingy in the interception department. Francis had only 8 all year.
The question here, Ben, is would they decline it? It's 3rd down.
Right.
They'll have to have the football. They've got it marked inside the 1-yard line. If they do not take the play, it'll force them into a 4th down, and they'll have to punt.
It was 3rd and 13, remember, on the Viking 41. So now the Vikings are thinking, do we want them to punt 4th, and we'll see about the penalty, or take over 1st and 10 in the shadows of their own goalpost. Nick Tingelhoff conferring with Bud Grant.
I'd let him punt.
Tingelhoff is an amazing study. You don't hear much about him. Counting preseason games, he's played in 295 preseason, regular, and postseason games.
It's not going to be a 4th down situation. We better check that, Vin. It's going to be a 3rd down.
It'll be 3rd, right. With the penalty.
Offensive pass interference, 3rd down.
Okay, Frank Grant was caught grabbing, though it is 3rd and 23 for Bill Kilmer. Remember, the Vikings could have had the ball back or inside their 5-yard line. George Allen trying to cheerlead his ball club back. Kilmer needs a big one now. He sends Jefferson wide left with Grant in the slot. Gene Fugit is split right.
I think it's a good decision.
Brown and Thomas blocking. Kilmer complete to Roy Jefferson. He's belted by Wally Hilgenberg and dropped at the 35-yard line, but he has another 7 yards to go for a 1st down.
We're going to see a long field goal. Coach Mosley can cook it. Here comes Jefferson across the middle. Now, Kilmer is scrambling to the right. Roy says, "Give me the football, Billy." And he got popped right there by Hilgenberg.
So the ball on the 34-yard line. Jeff Seaman, who has been playing a solid middle linebacker, shaken up and had to come out. 4th and 6. Joe Theismann will spot the ball at the 41. So Mark Mosley has to kick it 51 yards.
Against a little wind.
And it is no good. It was off to the right.
So the gamble pays off, Ben. They get it at the 20, at the line of scrimmage, and that's the 34.
By reshuffling the deck, Bud Grant gained about 19 yards.
Cotton keeps America comfortable. Cotton keeps America feeling natural.
I'd do anything for Bill. So when he said that he wanted comfortable, breathable cotton shirts, I bought him Natural Blend shirts with 60% or more cotton plus durable press. So Bill gets cotton comfort and I get easy care. Natural Blend is great because I'd do anything for Bill, except iron shirts.
When you're looking for comfort, look for the seal of cotton. The more cotton, the better you feel.
7 out of 10 cars on the road today can use my Sunoco 190. It's made to sell below regular. Look, I wouldn't want to let my customers spend more money than they have to.
I can be very friendly, yes I can. 'Cause it's my business and I'm my own man. I'll make real sure you'll be back to me for more. I can be very friendly, very friendly.
Yes, I can.
Line of scrimmage is the Viking 34, so they'll put it in play there, 1st and 10. Play action fake to McClanahan and a give to Foreman, and a good gutsy tackle by Brad Dusack, or he would have picked up a ton.
We call that a reverse.
Brad Dusack, good stop.
Good stop by the outside left linebacker for the Redskins.
2nd and 9, the ball just shy of the Viking 35-yard line. 11:50 to go in the 2nd quarter, and it's 14-3 Minnesota. Rashad wide left. Foreman is in a slot. Sammy White goes wide right. Parkinen under a rush from Talbot and completes to Stu Voigt, who is knocked out of bounds by Dusack and Houston just shy of the 40-yard line.
The only time Stu Voigt becomes a primary receiver, Ben, is when Tarkington starts scrambling around when everybody else is covered. That is the man he looks to, Stu Voigt.
The definition of the word scrambling by Bud Grant is simple enough. He refers to it as Francis is buying time. And the more time that he can buy, the more successful he will be. 3rd and 5 on the Viking 39-yard line. White is inside Rashad in a slot left. Foreman and McClanahan back of Tarkinen. Targeting deep over the middle of Sammy White, overthrows him. Kenny Houston right there with him.
And Fran's got his head down on that one. White had Houston beaten about a step and a half to the inside. Sammy White can really turn it on. He's got that smooth glide that's so deceptive, Ben, and that's how he beats those cornerbacks. They think they have him covered, and all of a sudden he just glides that extra step.
Targeting is 6 for 11, and thanks to that sensational catch by Sammy White, he is thrown for 2 touchdowns. Neil Clabo standing on his own 25-yard line. Eddie Brown standing on his 25. Clabo gets a little heat, but still able to hang it. Brown signaling fair catch, and there's a flag on the play as the ball goes out of bounds, and we'll see now if they ran into the punter.
They sure did, Ben. They just ran over Clabo. They went for the punt block.
Dan Nugent comes charging in, and there he cuts his legs out from under him.
Of course,
oh, that's a big break for Minnesota.
Of course, those punters, anytime you just barely graze them, they're going to go down.
So Minnesota leading the league and holding on to the ball, and that's just what they're going to do.
Running into the kicker, 5 yards, first down.
Well, first down, Minnesota on their own 44-yard line and leading 14-3. Brent McClanahan with Foreman out in front of him.
What a block.
Finally pushed out of bounds at midfield by Jake Scott.
I tell you, Chuck Foreman did not throw a cut block at anybody, but he just moved everybody about 3 yards back. Watch Foreman. Fine block. This guy can do it all. And McClanahan follows the blocking very good. Now, Steve Riley has really hustled over there, and he holds his block, gets a standoff, and Foreman pushed Chris Hamburger back.
Okay, 2nd and 3. The ball just moving over into Washington territory now on the Skins 49.
And you give Fran Tarkenton a lot of these opportunities, 2nd and 3, and he's going to kill you.
Here comes McClanahan following Foreman, still on his feet, and finally wrestled to a standoff by Chris Hamburger just about at the 45-yard line of Washington. That would be just about enough for the first down.
Yeah, this will be a measurement for Minnesota's 8th first down here in the first half.
From here, it looks like a cinch first down.
The Redskins only have 1, Ben.
There it is, by plenty. Here's another look. You can watch McClanahan following double 4s, Chuck Foreman.
And surprisingly, McClanahan is the leading rusher in this football game. He's picked up 56 yards and 5 carries. Of course, he was aided by that 41-yard rip-off on the first play of the game.
1st and 10 on the Washington 45-yard line. Rashad White left with Sammy White in a slot. Stu Boyd on the right side, McClanahan in motion. Foreman runs right into Dave Butts and got by Butts and picked up a yard or 2. But Butts had a handle and couldn't hold on.
Ed White going against Dave Butts. That's a pretty good matchup. Both of them very strong. Ed White supposedly the strongest guy in the National Football League.
Picked up 1. So it'll be 2nd and 9 on the Washington 44. 14-3 Minnesota. We have 9:40 to go in the second quarter.
Now, then, here's a situation that Tarkenton loves. Is the backs are split, which they are. Watch and see if they curl out of the backfield. That's the #1 pass receiver.
They both go out. And Tarkenton throws to McClanahan. He's hit at the 40-yard line and dropped by Jake Scott.
The flag down. All Fran does in that instance is key the middle linebacker. If he goes right, he comes back to McClanahan's side. This time he went to the left, and he knew he was going to throw back to the weak side. There's
Ed White making a great tackle, and I think he's called for it right there. Tying up Ron McDowell. We'll see. That's what it is.
Let's see if we can pick up the call here. No, it's on Ed White.
Illegal use of the hands by the offense, number 83. Second down.
So it was Stu Voigt who was caught, and it looked like Ed White decided to be the partner of the dancing bear, Ron McDowell. So it is 2nd and 19. The ball on the Minnesota 46-yard line. Sammy White in a slot right, inside Rashad. Voigt on the left side. Tarkenton pursued by McDowell. Throws one deep, and it's complete to Ahmad Rashad at the 19-yard line of Washington. Kenny Houston hit him and then went out of bounds.
Vince Lombardi, when he was with the Green Bay Packers, we played against Fran Tarkenton so many times. The cardinal rule was never let Fran Tarkenton get outside of the pass rush. And that's exactly what Ron McDowell did. You let him get out of the pocket, that's where he kills you. Rashad was on a short pattern, changed it up, went deep, and he headed for the open spot beautifully.
So Minnesota totally controlling the ball and leading 14-3.
When I say you, Ben, you never let him get to the outside. The rush should always be against Tarkenton on the outside, force him up into the pocket.
White right and Rashad left. Whoa, Steve Riley in a hurry. Dennis Johnson was going one way and Steve Riley the other. And it'll be against Riley. George Allen trying to reach deep down into his bag of emotional tricks. His club has been sat on by the Vikings so far, outside of a field goal by Mark Mosley. Young lady in some anguish.
He's sitting there with a little jacket on. This is warm weather for these fans up here, believe me.
So 1st and 15 on the Washington 24-yard line. Bud Grant has piloted his club into a 14-3 lead, and Tarkenton trying for more. Rashad right and Sammy White left. The backs are split, McClanahan and Foreman. Tarkenton intended for Sammy White, and he's got it. Joe Lavender trying to bring him down with one arm.
Joe Lavender slipped a little bit, and that enabled the football to be caught. Watch. Tarkenton back. He kept both backs in the block. Good pass protection. Now watch Lavender. He turns his back on an out move. Sammy White. See that little slip right there? That caused the completion.
So it's 1st and goal for Minnesota on the Washington 8-yard line.
Everything's going good for the Vikings and the Redskins. Everything against them.
Sammy White in a slot inside Rashad Wright. McClanahan across the 5, still on his feet and dragged down at about the 2. Brad Dusick, the last man up.
You're watching what we call the offensive line is controlling the line of scrimmage. A good cut here by McClanahan. He's running as hard as I've ever seen him run. He wants that yardage inside the 2.
So 2nd and goal. And that Viking has a lot to be happy for. They're close to increasing a 14-3 lead.
He's been the mascot here ever since this franchise was established.
Steve Craig is in now, so 2 tight ends. 2nd and goal from the 2. Foreman is hit, gets away from 2 men and scores. He got away from Kenny Houston and Joe Lavender. And Washington felt that they should have had a whistle, but he just barreled it over.
66-yard drive. Watch the second effort of Chuck Foreman. They always go to the strength here about 80% of the time. Strength is left. Foreman with his head down. He's pushed back by Kenny Houston. Fights free. He hits one of the linebackers, Brad Dusick, and slips to the outside. 15th touchdown, 14th by running this year for Chuck.
It will take a man of the perpetual optimism of a George Allen not to get down now. The kick is up. It is good. And the Vikings are leading 21-3 with 7 minutes and 43 seconds to go in the second quarter. And it for sure has been all Minnesota up to here.
I'm not the only one who runs through airports.
Thousands of us do it every day. Rushing for meetings, rushing, running. Well, Hertz knows what it's like. So Hertz has more cars all over the country. More good people who can put out that extra effort to get you away fast. And it's good to know it's Hertz policy to hold your Ford or other fine car, even if your plane's 2 hours late. With all this, wouldn't you rather rent from Hertz, the superstar in rent-a-car?
Until recently, microwave cooking has been done by time alone. Then General Electric introduced the automatic chef control. It cooks many foods by the temperature you select, not by the time. It shuts itself off when your food is good and ready. No more guessing, no more watching. You don't even have to be there. GE microwave ovens with the automatic chef control. Another plus, they're backed by customer care service everywhere.
The holiday festivities on CBS continue tonight with the Peanuts crew and their Emmy Award-winning special, A Charlie Brown Christmas, starting at 8, 7 Central.
Eddie Brown from his 5-yard line on a good boot by Freddie Cox. And Brown gets it out into a tangle across the 30-yard line. For Washington, they need a big play and in a hurry. Minnesota leading 14-3 at the end of the first quarter. Has added 7 more to make it 21-3. Say on New Year's Day, CBS Sports presents the prestigious Cotton Bowl. Undefeated Maryland, ranked 5th in the UPI, taking on the Houston Cougars, the Southwestern Conference leaders. And on January 2nd, the Sun Bowl. That'll be Texas A&M and Florida Gators. 1st and 10 from the Washington 31. Kilmer gets Frank Grant at the 45, and he's wrestled down by Bobby Bryant as he gets across midfield. There's a flag on the play, and we'll see now if it's a late hit charge to Matt Blair, who went flying by just as the flag was thrown.
Jeff Seaman has a bruised left leg, the middle linebacker for the Vikings, being replaced by Amos Martin.
The penalty indicated against Washington.
Oh, that takes the steam out. They're trailing by 18 points. They get a first down. Good field position, and they move them back.
Illegal use of the hands by the offense, number 44.
That would be John Riggins. So Riggins trying to block, evidently, for Kilmer to get that pass off to Frank Grant, and they caught Riggins. So that's butts the ball back on the Washington 37-yard line. 7 minutes, 24 seconds to go to the half.
And they move up the first down mark. It's going to be first and about 4 or 5 yards.
Here they come now. To the left, Frank Grant. To the right, Roy Jefferson. John Riggins, inside a block by Stokes, gets across the 40, fighting for the first down, and it would appear as if he is right on the edge. They'll measure. Minnesota with a lot to cheer about so far. Dominating the game, leading 21-3. 7 minutes to go to the half.
Are going to measure. The reason why it was 1st and 4, they had picked up the first down on the pass completion, and the penalty came after he made the first down, so they moved it back from the spot of the foul.
Bad news for Jeff Seaman and the Vikes. He have evidently pulled a calf muscle, and they do not expect Seaman back in the game the rest of the day.
So his place will be taken by a man from Louisville, Kentucky, out of the University of Louisville, 6'3", 228 pounds, known as a hitter, Amos Martin.
Amos, whose first name is truly Anthony. 1st and 10 on the 41, and there's Jeff Seaman. He'll have to stand it out the rest of the way. From the 41, Jefferson with Grant in a slot. Fugate, the tight end, on the left side. Mike Thomas following a Riggins block that's out across the 45. Amos Martin got his feet wet making the hit.
I tell you, the experience of a great quarterback. Kilmer goes right at Amos Martin. Riggins almost ran over him. Here's Martin. He submarines underneath the play. There's Riggins, and he got right underneath the back, Thomas.
2nd and 6 from the 45 of Washington. 21-3 Minnesota. 6 minutes, 20 seconds to go to the half. Slot left. Second man Thomas behind Riggins, but he couldn't run through Carl Eller among others. Eller and Martin clogging it up.
Well, on 5 occasions this year, the Vikings have given up over 170 yards rushing. And I'm sure that George Allen, with his computerized system over there, has seen we've got to run the football against this team, and it just has not worked so far. They cannot move the football on the ground. The Viking defense is playing a lot better.
3rd and 4 from the Washington 47-yard line. Jefferson left and Grant right. Gilmert intercepted by Nate Wright, and Frank Grant pulled him down at the 35-yard line. That's the 3rd Minnesota interception, and they're just reaching up and grabbing that ball at will.
Yeah, Gilmert again, there was pressure on him. They had a stun on. Carl Eller went to the inside, Sutherland to the outside. There's Eller. He gives him Paul right in the nose. Now we pick up the football downfield. It's overthrown. Nate Wright is right there for Minnesota's 3rd interception.
Let's get ready to blow her.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Now comes Miller time. It takes as much skill to bring down a building as it does to put one up. And now's the time for the best tasting beer you can find. Miller High Life.
If you've got the time, we've got the beer.
Here's what you made room for.
Miller Beer.
Polaroid has made its finest camera even better, the new SX70 Alpha 1. It has all the spectacular SX70 features. For instance, you can get this close with the Alpha 1 without a special lens, while this is the closest most other cameras will let you get. Some of the news? A monitored flash and the new super clear SX70 film for even better color. Give Polaroid's new SX70 Alpha 1.
5 minutes and 32 seconds to go to the half. 21-3 Minnesota. The Vikes will put the ball in play, 1st and 10 on their own 35-yard line. Play action fake is Tarkinen to the left side, and that's intercepted by Kenny Houston at the 40, and he's dragged down by Ron Yeri. So Washington comes up with its 2nd interception. Minnesota has stolen 3.
That same play went for a touchdown in the first half to Stu Boyd. This time, Ken Houston says, Fran, not the 2nd time. I'm going to get a watch him. He's moving over to the right. He's trying to get it to his tight end, Stu Boyd, and Ken Houston comes back from the outside for the interception. It's Ed White getting blocked. Ron Yeri finally pulls him down.
5:24 to go to the half. Washington now trying to get fat on that interception. 1st and 10 on the Viking 36-yard line. Kilmer to Mike Thomas, and he stumbled. He was trying to follow Ron Saul's block, and Saul was out in front, but Mike slipped and down he went. Doug Sutherland made sure he stayed down.
Now I wonder if George Allen on the sidelines, maybe we go down to Irv and ask him, would George Allen be thinking right now of Joe Theismann in the 2nd half? Billy has thrown 2 interceptions, actually 3. One was declined. Irv?
Here on 1st down, again, the Redskins are trying to run a weak side off tackle, but they haven't had much success. Keep in mind that middle linebacker seems to be shutting off the running attack.
John Riggins is eaten up by Alan Page.
The only defensive player to make most valuable player in the National Football League, 1971, Alan Page.
So Page knocks him back to the Viking 42-yard line. We have 4 minutes and 28 seconds to go to the half. Calvin Hill in there with John Riggins now. Mike Thomas stumbled, fell, and came out. Gene Fugit is the tight end. Roy Jefferson going wide right, and Frank Grant in a slot. And Fugit is loosened off to the left. Hill staying into block. Billy gets away from 3, and he's still going, throwing on the run, and it's dropped. He was intended for Larry Brown, Brown unable to hold on to it.
Oh, amazing how he got out of the rush and scrambled here. Billy Kilmer.
Eller and Page really pinching him.
Watch Eller here. He gets a hand on him. There's Doug Southern falling down, and Kilmer said, I'd rather throw it and run it. He gets it to his open man, end over end. Brown cannot hold on.
So 4th and 16 on the Viking 42. And Mike Bragg will be kicking deep. 3 men back there, Sammy White, Leonard Willis, and Autry Beeman, with Leonard Willis the middleman. Bragg angling for the corner. It's fielded by Autry Beeman, who falls down, and they're going to spot the ball at about the Minnesota 18-yard line, but they'll put it in play 1st and 10 on the 18. A reminder, the other side of the coin in the NFC tomorrow in Dallas, where the Dallas Cowboys host the Los Angeles Rams.
Oh, that's going to be a head knocker. Woo. Rams against the Cowboys.
So Minnesota, 1st and 10, the ball on their 18-yard line. Rashad wide right, Sammy White wide left. McClanahan into a crowd. Minnesota started off the day by winning the toss, and they have won most of everything else. They have kept the ball most of the time, and they have 21 points to the Redskins 3. Parkenden is 9 for 15. Kilmer is 5 for 11. Francis has thrown 2 interceptions and 2 touchdowns. And if you missed it, you missed one of the great catches of the year by Sammy White. 2nd and 8 on the 21. Here's Foreman behind Ron Yeri. Spins at the 25 and gets out to about the 27. Yeri, number 73, leading the pack.
Ron Yeri, been all-pro almost every year he's been in the league. 9-year veteran from USC, and he's really, I guess you'd have to say, he is the real stalwart of that offensive line, Ben. On 3rd and short, I guess over the years they've gone off the right side more than any other place.
And they're going to be doing it for years since he signed a 7-year contract. Don't know that area. 3rd and 2 from the 27 of Minnesota. 2:38 to go to the half. McClanahan all alone now as Foreman is in a slot. Francis is tripped up as he tried to cut back. Ron McDowell, the dancing bear. He was called that by Sonny Jurgensen. And you can watch number 79, Ron McDowell, trip him up.
Ron McDowell, the defensive left end, going against Ron Yeri, charging as he always does now the last 6 or 7 years. In the playoff time, he becomes a runner.
McDowell at one time was released by the Vikings. In 1975, McDowell blocked a 45-yard field goal attempt by Fred Cox to give Washington a most exciting 31-30 victory over Minnesota. Two minutes and 6 seconds to go to the half. Parkinen looking down the right side for Rashad. No good. Pat Fisher was there with him.
Not wasting any time. The 2-minute warning coming up. He's going into that 2-minute offense. He wants to shot at least a field goal, Vince.
So with 2 minutes left of the half, Minnesota 21, Washington 3. Stay with it.
John Houston for Color Track from RCA.
In this scene, the chips are red, table green, holster black. RCA wanted me to tell you the right colors because getting the color right is what their exclusive Color Track system is all about. It's a remarkable development that actually adjusts the color and keeps it on track.
Before you see the Color Track system grabs it, aligns it, defines it, sharpens it, tones it, and locks the color on track.
RCA is making television better and better.
Service for your car. Sometimes you want it, sometimes you need it, but sometimes you don't. You'd rather just fill up and go. And that's why many Exxon dealers also provide self-service islands, so you can save time and money and still get Exxon quality. Exxon, with self-service for when you don't need help, and full service for when you do.
Exxon products help make every mile count for you.
2 minutes left to the half. Minnesota leading the Washington Redskins 21-3. The Vikings have it 2nd and 10 on their own 30-yard line. Don't forget, at a halftime, Brent, Phyllis, and Herb will be with you. And then we'll pick up the pieces and see what develops. But there's still 2 minutes left to the half. Talking into McClanahan. McClanahan that time running into Ed White, who was under that pile. White was trying to block for him. McClanahan ran into him, and then he was tackled by Harold McClendon.
Redskins take a timeout here. It's going to bring up a 3rd down situation. They want their hands on that football and take every chance they can to put some points on the board. There's that little cubby hole that our 3 stars are in, Ben. There they are. Brent, the Greek. Irv, of course, is on the field. And that beautiful lady silhouetted to the left. How you get a job like that working with those kind of people, huh?
Talking about a job, what a job Fran Tarkenton, Bud Grant, and the Vikings have done for the first half. It reminds us that in that game in '75, it saw Washington get out in front of the Vikings 21-0, and Minnesota came roaring back, Washington hanging on to win 31-30. And you can bet that at halftime, George Allen, who thrives on emotionalism, will try very hard to lift his veteran ball club up and remind them about that.
Well, they've come back all year long. They were counted out about the 6th or 7th game of the year. They picked themselves off the mat. And that's the character of this football team. You cannot count the Redskins out. They've got character.
3rd and 7 on the Viking 33. A minute 50 to go to the half. Down the right side, and he overthrows Foreman. Brad Dusick was over there with him. He led him too much.
He got hung up. Brad Dusick did a good job of juking, just chucking Foreman up to just mess up the timing on the play. Claybo in.
So Neil Claybo, whose longest punt of the year, 55. And as you see, he's punted twice today.
See if they go for the punt block here.
Standing all alone is Eddie Brown on his own 32-yard line. 1:46 to go to the half. 21-3 Minnesota. Malinchek charging, but he couldn't get in, and Brown has to back up on his own 17-yard line. On his feet across the 30 and goes down to the 32 with Matt Blair sitting on top of him. So Washington with 1:34, as you see, down by 18 points. Trying to do something before the half runs out.
And Billy's got 2 timeouts to work with here.
He's 5 for 11 is Kilmer for 69 yards, but he has tossed up 2 interceptions.
He's also thrown a couple that should have been caught.
Frank Grant wide right and Roy Jefferson left. Riggins and Thomas stay in. Now they release, and the pass to Thomas. He's to the 40 and dragged down, crossing the 40. Amos Martin finally pulled him down at the 42-yard line. For the case of the backs blocking and then releasing.
Hurry up offense here. They'll change the chains, move them up. Clock will stop. Billy will go to work.
1st and 10 on the Washington 44. Kilmer complete to Thomas, and again Martin is on top of him. He lost the ball long after the whistle.
Timeout. George Allen goes through his 3rd base signals. Looks like he's 3rd base coach, doesn't he, Ben? Got all the movements over there.
George Allen, 54 years old, one of only a couple of coaches who have won over 100 games in his career. He's won 107. Don Shula, Tom Landry, and Hank Stram are the other 3. So it'll be 2nd and 3 with the ball on the 39-yard line when they put the ball in play. George Allen has had a great career, 11 years in the National Football League, 6 years at Washington. His winning percentage is .699, and his career winning percentage, .718. And Bud Grant's winning percentage is .720.
Winners.
Winners is right.
Amos Martin has taken over for Jeff Seaman. There he made 4 tackles. There he is right there standing talking to Bud Grant. I noticed Bobby Lee was kind of throwing the ball on the sidelines, Ben, and that little scramble that Fran Tarkenton made for the first down. He got up. He wasn't hurt, but he looked like he wasn't 100% when he went back to the huddle, and Bobby Lee was throwing on the sideline. There he is.
A minute and 3 seconds to the half. 2nd and 3 from the Viking 49. Kilmer, no good. Intended for Roy Jefferson, and a trio of Vikes were there. Jeff Wright, Bobby Bryant, and he also got help as Martin dropped back. 58 seconds.
They got the extra defensive back in, the nickel defense. 3rd and 3 coming up here. Watch those back swing out of the backfield. Both teams use it so well in their offense. On 3rd down situations, they'll go to their back on those little hook patterns. Against the Vikings, it's a good play because they're normally in that zone defense. It's a prevent. Watch how far back Paul Krause. You won't even see him in the picture. He's 13 yards back playing free safety.
Kilmer looking right, throwing right, and leading his man Mike Thomas. No good. Nate Allen was right there with him.
He had to release quick. Good pressure. Eller.
4th and 3 on the Viking 49. It's 21-3 Minnesota. They led 14-3 at the quarter, and they picked up another touchdown. In fact, all 3 of their touchdown drives for Minnesota, all 3 have been 66 yards in length. Consistency, thou art a jewel.
Tarketing has been consistent for 50 years, it seems.
Kilmer cranking it up and then releases slow to Big Fugit, who was hit at the 40-yard line and dropped immediately. And it was Paul Krause who made the tackle. That's enough for the first down. 40 seconds left. Kilmer getting his men up in a hurry. Backs are split.
Got to throw the quick turnout
out of bounds to Frank Grant, and he steps out of bounds at the 35-yard line. It was Nate Wright pushing him out.
We've got 1 timeout remaining, Ben.
And we've got 30 seconds remaining to the half. So a veteran ball club trying to use every grain of sand in that hourglass now. A most interesting study. 2nd and 6 from the 35 of Minnesota. And it would be very much of an emotional lift if Washington can somehow or other get on the scoreboard before going into the locker room.
I'll tell you, that'll be a big part of George Allen's speech at that halftime if they can put at least 3 points on the board.
Slot left, Grant inside Jefferson, Fugit right. Heavy rush and a leap by Marshall, and that messed him up. Jim Marshall leaped so high in the air that Kilmer could not get rid of the ball, and then he was buried.
17-year veteran from Ohio State. They brought Bob Lurchman in here about 5 years ago, hoping to replace Jim Marshall. Lurchman now playing with Seattle. Marshall is still here. Here's the receiving. But Frank Grant gets knocked down by Nate Wright.
And he bumped right into Roy Jefferson, and that took him out of the play as well.
And Kilmer had to scramble to the left, and he got caught by the rush.
So Amos Martin waiting for the injured Jeff Seaman over to join the huddle. 24 seconds to the half. Meanwhile, the other side, Billy Kilmer talking to George Allen, trying to find that home run ball. It's an amazing thing for a man who has spent a lifetime in football, and everybody who follows the game at all knows how devoted to the game George Allen is. Nevertheless, whenever he is trying to give you an example, he invariably talks in baseball. He will talk, for instance, about the kicking shoe of Fred Cox. And he said, you start monkeying around with the shoe. He said, it's like baseball. You start monkeying around with baseball bats, you're going to have trouble making contact. He is constantly talking in baseball language while he lives so well in the football world. 3rd and 14 on the Minnesota 43-yard line. 24 seconds, as you see, left to go to the half. Fugit wide left. Grant inside Jefferson right. Line holding up, and so Kilmer hesitates and then lets a long one go in the end zone. No good. Let's take a look at Frank Grant because it looked like he had it.
It looked like he had it 2 yards deep in the end zone. Kilmer got out of the rush, stepped up into the pocket, watched Frank Grant hill. It's a little zig pattern, and he's just trying to go deep into the end zone, hoping for at least interference. He's got Bryant beat. Paul Krause, the free safety, comes over. Right there. He took his eye off of it. He had a hold of it, Ben.
Sure looked that way. So it is 4th and 14, and that course, there are so many plays you can call a big play, but knowing how badly Washington needs to get on the boards before the half, that could be a tremendous play. 4th and 14, 16 seconds to go to the half. Jerry Smith is in there now. No good. It was intended for Frank Grant with Jerry Smith way deep at the 10-yard line. So with 11 seconds to go to the half, Billy Kilmer misses after it looked like he had a touchdown.
You know, that defensive line for Minnesota is just putting on. They're not getting to him. They're not sacking that much, Ben, but they're putting enough pressure where Billy would like to hold the football maybe a second or 2 seconds longer and give his receivers a chance to break a little bit deeper. But that defensive line is making Billy release a little bit quickly.
The quarterback will not be Fran Tarkenton. It's Bob Lee. And Lee is going to go gambling right away. Deep down the right side. No good. Intended for Sammy White. A collision with Ken Houston. But they were both going after the ball, even though Bud Grant and the Viking fans feel that there was interference.
There you see Ken Houston looking back at the football. Now White is on the outside of him. Both men have a right to the football. I think it was a good call.
4 seconds to go. Tarkenton certainly well enough to talk to his coach. Bob Lee, who's in there at quarterback.
Well, they're pulling
San
out
Francisco City College. His running back was O.J. Simpson.
I'd say that was a pretty good one to have around. Wow, what a back. I tell you, they pulled out all the stops in this one. You think Bud Grant plays conservative football. Got an 18-point lead, and he's going for the bomb right here.
2nd and 10 on the 43. 4 seconds to go to the half. And Lee going after another one. Chased by McDole. And down he goes with McDole and Brundage and Talbot. And so is the first half history at Bloomington, Minnesota. A standing ovation for the Vikings. And it is 21-3 Minnesota as we go to halftime.
Here's a Space Age gift for kids from Radio Shack. The original Space Patrol walkie-talkie. You get 2 for just $14.95 a pair, and they really work. They're crystal controlled and battery operated, just like Dad's bigger CB units. And they're built in Radio Shack's own electronics factory. So this Christmas, thrill your kids with a $14.95 a pair Space Patrol. Only at Radio Shack. A Tandy company.
For 1977, a new Ford Granada was brought to Germany for its toughest ride test against a $20,000 Mercedes-Benz. The testing was conducted by German engineers. To evaluate riding smoothness, they drove the cars over a variety of road surfaces, including cobblestone. Inside, their sensitive vibration recorder took readings, and it showed this. In 75% of the test conditions, the Granada and the Mercedes rode with virtually the same level of smoothness. Then, to evaluate quietness of ride, interior sound levels were measured in decibels on the International dBA scale. Their findings, at every speed tested, the Granada consistently rode as quiet as the Mercedes.
Es ist wirklich bemerkenswert, dass Ihr Granada in diesen Tests mit dem sehr teuren Mercedes vergleichbar ist.
Ford engineers have achieved this level of quietness and smoothness at the modest price of a Granada. When America needs a better idea, Ford puts it on wheels.
Sunday on Kojak.
He's gonna kill me.
Who is?
This man who died a year ago.
Makes that much difference?
She'll bring me back to life. He tried to follow me.
Frank Kilgan's dead.
Suppose you kill someone.
We got this yo-yo bomber running around exploding these things at will. So we pay and it's over. Braden's department store's been found. One of the customers was killed. A Kojak thriller. Sunday at 9, 8 Central.
And welcome to our cozy studio here in Bloomington, Minnesota. Irv, I'll tell you, some first half, it has been all Minnesota, but one thing about George Allen's teams, they never quit, so stick around for that second half.
know, Brent, yesterday I was saying, why are they so loose, carefree, and relaxed out there? They were unbelievable.
The Minnesota team.
The Minnesota team. Now, before the big game, I didn't understand that. Now we know why. They are flying higher than a kite. And we've seen a lot of Hail Marys attempted here today. But the spectacular one to Sammy White, I can't wait to see that one again.
That was some play. But, Irv, I'm interested in your point about it. Now, in looking at the replay carefully, Kenny Houston's coming across on the ball. He's going for the interception. It looked like he had a good shot. But what you're saying is he should have cleared it out or what?
Well, you know, defensive back, anytime the ball is in the air, you try to go ahead and get it. Now, Houston was doing that, and he was in good position, but he hadn't really overreached to get it. If there's any question in your mind about it, get both hands as off he can, bat it down to the ground, drive it down, because when you bat it up the way he did, you know, you get spectacular catches where they got out of Sammy White.
We're going to see that play a little bit later in the pregame. However, there is a major Davis Cup story unfolding. You know, the United States has lost each of the last 2 years to Mexico. For an update, let's go to Gary Bender in Tucson.
I'm Gary Bender. And I'm Marty Reeson. And yesterday's story was Roscoe Tanner's defeat of Raul Ramirez. Okay, Marty, let's see the final game of Tanner's straight sets victory over Ramirez.
If he does happen to get a lob over your head, throw it back up in the air. Don't be trying to turn around and make some flaky pass and shot, all right? You've got a touch of wind in your face if you end up having to hit a lob, all right?
Yeah.
So far now, you've hit every backhand overhead when he's got on the backside back down the line, and he's staying there now. You might want to come back the other way with one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pull it back cross court, which is really your natural shot, all right? All first serves. Don't be afraid to serve into with that forehand, to kick one into the forehand, all right? Yeah. First serve, first serve. Let's close him out right here. Make your favorite volley.
And close him out he did, Marty. A remarkable comeback by Roscoe Tanner, down 1-5 in the first set.
Well, he's down 1-5 in that first set and 3 set points at 5-1. But now he's come back to lead 2 sets to love, and he's up 5-4 here. This is the most remarkable comeback and victory for Roscoe Tanner. There he is. He's following coaches Tony Trabert's advice. First serve in, came in, put a winning volley away. 15 love.
Roscoe Tanner calls this his greatest victory.
Well, I think it is. He beat Jimmy Connors at Wimbledon, but this is even a better one for him. Look at that. Another first serve in. Ramirez can't return it, and he's up 30 love. He seems very calm out there, going for this match. He's not even letting Ramirez touch the ball. First serve in, came in, put that volley away, and Ramirez can't get to it, can't scramble. And Roscoe Tanner, the United States, and Tony Trabert stand at match point.
He suppresses a smile.
I think he's a pretty happy man. He thinks Roscoe's got it. There it is.
There it is.
The match, the United States. Roscoe Tanner played a great match. This is just a fantastic win.
6-4, 6-4. Thank you, Linesman. Thank you, Bobo.
Just tremendous. Played a great game. Michael, shake hands. Captain, thank you.
Roscoe Tanner in straight sets. A happy young man.
Well, he sure is, and he's given the U.S. a big lead here, 1-0 over Raul Ramirez in Mexico. Great going, Roscoe.
Just imagine now what you've done. First serves, you know, everybody talks about 19 aces. Maybe we don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even go for them.
No, but look at all the good volleys you got, the sitters. And instead of worrying about doing inside-out stuff, flaky little crap, you do good, sound, solid stuff. Even when he stood there, he seldom got the ball by you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing that I keep saying at 30 love 30. Look at it, look at it, look at it. Because if you see it, you're going to make it. Okay? You were super.
More Davis Cup highlights at 5 and 6. But right now to Brent Musburger in Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington.
Gary Bender, thank you very much. Dear Irvin Phillips, was so interesting to hear Tony Trabert coaching down there on the sidelines. And, of course, the job that he is doing with that team when you consider that Jimmy Connors has refused to play because his mother says that he needs the rest. Now, we've got more coming up as the NFL Today continues on CBS right after this word from your local station.
Gloria's announcement that she may be pregnant again surprises Mike on All in the Family tonight at 9, 8 Central on CBS.
Back at halftime in Bloomington, Minnesota, the Vikings leading the Redskins by a score of 21-3. Second game today out on the West Coast, Oakland against New England.
And it's going to be a great one, folks. Making their first playoff appearance in 13 years, the New England Patriots are the surprise of the postseason. Their success started when Chuck Fairbanks settled on Steve Grogan as his quarterback. Well, today, New England faces the uphill task of beating the Raiders in Oakland. But Grogan and his teammates already have beaten Oakland once this season, you'll remember. So you can't blame Coach Fairbanks for thinking, along with Tony Bennett, the best is yet to come.
I'm mad that Al Davis probably had that music piece as required viewing on the part of the Oakland Raiders. And also tomorrow, coming up on CBS, Dallas and Los Angeles. We'll be pulling out right after this game, but Pat Summerall is down there where he'll be working with Tom Brookshire. So let's go to Pat now for a report.
All right, Brent, there's nobody at Texas Stadium but us and the Los Angeles Rams right now. They'll be matched up against the Cowboys tomorrow. And there still has been a lot of speculation here, but not only by Ram coach Chuck Knox right now watching his team practice along with his assistants. Still been a lot of questions about who is going to be the quarterback for the Rams. As you know, Pat Hayden started last week but was injured Saturday night against Detroit. And there's been a lot of speculation about who it will be. Earlier today, before practice, in fact, Tom Brookshire talked with Pat Hayden.
Well, Pat, you don't look wounded. You're going to be the starting quarterback. How is the knee, honestly? How does it feel?
It feels very good. I've just about lived with our trainer the past week, and it's responded very well to treatment. I practiced some for the last 2 days, and it's going to be no problem, no excuse for me.
The arthroscope, they looked inside the knee. A little bit painful to get that out, but that keeps them having to cut, doesn't it?
Right, yeah, and I was very relieved that they didn't have to cut on it. And like I say, I feel fine, and we're looking forward to the ball game.
Pat, have you ever seen Too Tall Jones? You and I hit right into his numbers. That's an incredible defensive line, right?
They really are good, and they played so well all year long, and their defense is playing super right now. So we're going to have to execute. Hopefully we've got some things in our game plan that's going to take advantage of some of the things we do well, and we feel that they do poorly, but which aren't too many. But like I say, we're going to have to execute and play awfully well.
Big game for a big quarterback. All right.
Thank you very much.
Pat Hayden, by the way, Patrick, in 60 completions, he had 8 touchdowns. I don't know if that's one of the all-time factors or not, but it is as far as I'm concerned. Let's go back up to you upstairs.
So that's pretty much the story from Dallas. It'll be confirmed by Chuck Knox earlier today. It'll be Pat Hayden at quarterback for the Los Angeles Rams, and of course Roger Staubach for the Cowboys. Right now, we're just warming up your chairs and getting ready for tomorrow's pregame show.
Hi, I'm Brent Musburger. Hi, I'm Phyllis George. Hi, I'm Irv Krause.
Phyllis, what do you think about the game tomorrow?
Well, I'm going with the Cowboys.
Why?
I like the quarterback.
Irv, what do you think about the game tomorrow?
I think that's going to be a pretty good game. Now back to Minnesota.
That was darling.
Saw Becky. She got adorable.
Oh, that's darling. Well, we've still got time. Let's take a look now at some of the plays for the first half, because I'm sure that everyone wants to see that Sammy White catch again. Well, let's start off with the first offensive play. Fran to Brent McClanahan. Look at the hole that was opened up. Voigt with a block, Foreman with a block, and he gets down to the 25-yard line, a gain of 41 yards. Paul Horning has been telling our game director, Tony Verner, to watch for Stu Voigt, the way he keeps getting open on his replays, and here it paid off. Talking into Voigt, and he gets in. It was a touchdown, and after the extra point, it was 7-0. Mosley took the field goal. Back came the Vikes, and here it is, folks. Houston is there, and now in slow motion. One of the greatest catches I have ever watched. Consider the concentration right now going on with Sammy White as he rolls over and gets in, and it was 14-3. And then Tarkington went to his other wide receiver, Ahmad Rashad at the 25. And after this reception, of course, Chuck Foreman got in for the touchdown, and it was 21-3. And here is that score. Irv, quickly, what does Washington have to do to get back in it?
Because there's nothing you can do to defend against super plays. I really think they have to do something to shore up the right side of the defensive line. Minnesota's had great success running over their left guard and tackle.
All right. The NFL today will continue with the second half of Minnesota-Washington on CBS in just a moment.
Good. Now we can go to bed. Wait a minute. I want to give you your gift while we're alone. It's something just for you. A washer and dryer. Now, come on, will you be serious? Okay. Close your eyes. Merry Christmas.
Give her a diamond. It's forever.
At Bell Laboratories, we're working on an incredible new way to transmit phone calls. Listen as light turns into sound. The beam of light in this glass fiber can also carry telephone calls and other electronic communications. It can do the job better and cheaper than expensive copper phone wires. In a system now being developed, a few strands of glass fiber can carry as many calls as this bulky copper cable. There's another advantage to replacing copper wires with glass fibers. We'll never have to worry about running out of the natural resource needed to make them. It's called sand.
The Bell System. Nearly 1 million men and women working together with one common goal: to keep America's phone system the best in the world.
The bank robbery involving the Marshall's sons.
I've seen them both killed.
There's nothing I could do. Tried.
We ends know what to do with betrayers, and we'll kill them for sure. 4 men are gonna hang for something they didn't do, and they're just sitting facing.
I just want to get back at Pa for never being around.
Give him a chance, J.D.
Pa!
John Wayne, Cahill, U.S. Marshal. Next week on the CBS Wednesday Night Movies.
Hi, everybody. Vin Scully, along with Paul Horning, welcoming you back to Bloomington. And we start the second half. Fred Cox signaling he's ready. And here we go, 21-3 Vikings. He thunders it to Ed Brown on the Washington 5. 15. 25. And Fred McNeil, among others, makes the first hit, and down he goes across the 25-yard line. Here are the numbers and part of the story of the first half. They don't tell you about that 41-yard quick burst by Brent McClanahan that set up the 18-yard touchdown pass to Stu Voigt. They don't tell you about the miraculous catch by Sammy White. And they don't tell you about Foreman's 18-yard scamper for a TD, but they do tell you enough. 1st and 10 from the Washington 27. Kilmer over the middle to Jefferson, right through his hands. And now it is becoming a case of Washington receivers just not hanging on to the ball, Paul.
Well, that's that strong side passing attack that we were talking about earlier. Here's Billy from the end zone going back. He hits this quick. He throws it as good as anybody in the league right there. And it has to be a perfect pass. As you can see, the Vikings are in that zone. Incomplete.
Fran Tarkenton, who had Bob Lee come in and finish up the first half, evidently is okay. 2nd and 10 from the Washington 27. Mike Thomas in the slot left. Kilmer, a diving try by Roy Jefferson, but he was out of bounds. Oh, no catch. You know, when you think about it, of course, it's oversimplifying, but you had the remarkable catch by Sammy White, and then the catch that was not by Frank Grant.
Frank Grant had a touchdown and just took his eye off of it in the crowd.
That's a big spread of points right there.
14. Washington does not have to get out of their game plan, Van. I'm sure at halftime he said, look, the most important thing, as far as George Allen is really concerned, I would think right now, Van, they got to move the football. They got to score first here in the third quarter. If the Vikings score first, then they've got to throw away their game plan and go upstairs.
3rd and 10 from the 27. Larry Brown staying in the block. Kilmer down the middle, juggled and dropped by Gene Fugit. And boy, they put a vice on him. Jeff Wright and Paul Krause, along with Matt Blair, so he was trying to catch it in the crowd and couldn't do it.
Kilmer put it right on the numbers. Billy goes back. This is a great pass on a post pattern with Gene Fugit. He had the first down. He just couldn't hold on again. Watch it. And I'm telling you, he threw that into traffic right on the button.
So Mike Bragg will be punting from his 13-yard line. Leonard Willis standing deep on the Viking 35. Vikes were coming, but he got it off. There's Leonard Willis, chased by Rusty Tillman, but he gets away from him, and Stu O'Dell just grabbed him by the neck and threw him out of bounds.
The Viking defense stops Washington immediately and gives the Viking offense great field position with an 18-point lead, and that's dangerous. Tarkington is the quarterback, isn't he? Or is that Bobby Lee?
Wally Hilgenberg came within that much of blocking that punt. It's a 34-yard punt, an 11-yard return, and the Vikes take over. 1st and 10 on their own 49. Tarkington is in there. McClanahan in motion. Chuck Foreman into a gang. The first man to touch him was Big Dave Butts, and that slowed things up.
No fumbles today either.
On the ground, and this is so important, Washington trying to run. John Riggins has carried 4 times for 1 yard, and Mike Thomas 9 times for 22. Meanwhile, Minnesota has been able to hold on to the ball most of the day. Foreman is 11 for 37, and McClanahan is 8 for 67. 2nd and 7 from the 48 of Washington. McClanahan fighting his way inside the 45 before he's dropped by Ron McDowell.
You hear so many coaches in theory say you run at the strength. Minnesota Vikings have really run at the left side, and that's where all-pro for so many years Chris Hanberger is, and they're double-teaming at the point of the attack there. Chuck Foreman has gotten inside of Hanberger on most occasions today. McDowell on the stop.
Washington 43-yard line where it's 3rd and 2 for the Vikings. We mentioned at the start of the game, the Vikings are #1 in total plays per game.
Yeah, they got the strength to the left side. Let's see if Strand goes over like he did. They go back to the weak side.
McClanahan into a crowd, and it's just a question of where they spot the ball.
Where is it? Did we make it? And McClanahan.
Brent McClanahan slowly climbing up.
I haven't heard it.
Look like they may be a little bit short. Now, Bud Grant, and everybody has called him conservative. I want to tell you something, Ben. I've seen him on the opening series in a regular season game on his own 24-yard line, 4th and a half a foot. He goes for it on occasion.
Well, they need that much.
You watch him. I'll bet he go. I don't know about this.
They're going for it, and Chuck Foreman throwing his hands high in the air as if to say, thank you, coach.
He answered this question in a press conference yesterday. Bud Grant said, if we have a play on 4th and 1 that we think we could pick up a yard, I don't care where it is, we're going to go for it.
Well, here they go. They have 2 tight ends, Craig on the right side, Boyd on the left. Foreman high in the air.
Wasn't any question who we were going to give it to there, was it?
We talk about a stairway to paradise. They ought to play that music back of Foreman's high dive.
Shades of Sam the Bam Cunningham on short yardage.
Watch him now. The stairway to paradise. Up the ladder he goes.
You think he could stuff a basketball? He got up about 50 inches there.
Turned him upside down, too.
Yes, sir.
Shake well before using. Okay, 1st and 10. The ball on the Washington 40-yard line. They just did make it. Rashad wide right with White in a slot. Boyd on the left side. McClanahan in motion. Parkinen throwing back to McClanahan. So they sent him in motion, and they hit him on the 35. Lavender and Hamburger bringing him down.
This is because Washington is a man-to-man defense. There is Hamburger, man-to-man with Stu Voigt, and outside, the cornerback Lavender has McClanahan man-to-man.
The ball on the Washington 33-yard line. That brings smiles from the Minnesota crowd. It is 2nd and about 3. Rashad right, Sammy White left, Boyd on the left side. Chuck Foreman trying to go inside McClanahan, dropped the ball, and Minnesota's Brent McClanahan recovered the fumble.
I tell you, that's when everything's going right, man.
Yeah.
That fumble, possibly, if it had not have bounced right, would have been a Washington Redskin football. That touchdown pass that Sammy White came up with in the first half, that great catch, it just happened to be bouncing right. Look at that, right into the hands of McClanahan.
If McClanahan had left his feet throwing the block, there wouldn't have been any way to recover the ball. Instead, he was in a hand fight on the edge, so he was still standing, and the ball just bounced right towards him.
And they get a first down out of it.
Well, boy, I'll tell you one thing. If the rest of this game goes the way it's going, Washington had better drive home carefully. They have not gotten a break all day. Everything has come up roses from Minnesota, and under the weather conditions, no reason why. It was about 43 degrees, but with no breeze and a strong sun, it's a very pleasant day.
And this kind of field that the Vikings won, a lot of people said they wanted snow and ice. No. With the type of offense they have, they want to be able to throw the football and cut.
1st and 10 on the Skins' 30-yard line. Parkinen going down the right side to Rashad, and it's out of the ballpark. Pat Fisher was there with him, but they left town to go after that one.
That's a fade-out pattern, man-to-man, and you know, so many people go after Pat Fisher on that play, but keep in mind one thing. He's the most experienced cornerback on bump and run because he gets it thrown at him so many times during the year. He actually defends against that pass better than any cornerback.
He is 5 feet 9 inches tall. On the other side, you have Joe Lavender, who is 6'4". So if they're going to throw that little high lob, they would figure they'd go after Fisher.
And what a fighter he is, huh?
There's Joe at 6'4". 2nd and 10 from the 30 of Washington. Foreman on a big hole across the 20. Across the 10.
He's something else.
He's out in touchdown land.
He's something else, baby. I tell you,
30 yards.
Ben, he beats that first tackler every time.
Jake Scott was grasping at a memory. You watch him run around number 13.
Look at this move here. Boom.
Yeah.
Jake Scott, I'll see you later, Daddy. Oh, he could pick it up.
Double fours. Worn for so many years by the great home run hitter Henry Aaron.
He can hit the home run in the football field. I can tell you that. Being congratulated by Nate Allen.
He just hit it out.
His second touchdown of the day, Ben.
27-3, Minnesota. And that'll make it 28. So the Minnesota Vikings have Washington by the war bonnet right now, 28-3.
You know, even in a plastic world, some things should never change. Like blue jeans. There's nothing plastic or phony about them. They're made of cotton. Look at the label. 100% cotton denim. That's why jeans fit natural, feel natural, and wash cotton clean. I tell you, you can't beat 100%. It's Big John here with the late night. If denim jeans aren't all cotton, they're not denim jeans at all.
Tonight, taste this superb wine against your favorite. A California wine made predominantly from the French Colombard grape. A superb grape that is used to enhance the flavor of many fine white wines. This unexcelled French Colombard by Ernest and Julio Gallo has a uniquely dry yet gentle taste. Enjoy the distinctive and delightful flavor of French Colombard by Ernest and Julio Gallo.
Minnesota shooting down the Redskins 28-3. 10:47 to go in the third quarter. Eddie Brown from the 10 to the 25 to the 30. And 5 Vikes bring him down. Gumler and Hall and Craig and Beeman and McNeil. Well, Billy Kilmer, boy, you talk about an uphill fight now. 1st and 10 on his own 30, and Minnesota leading 28-3. You could read Kilmer's lips in, "Let's go, boys, let's go." In motion, Mike Thomas. Kilmer to Fugit, and he makes a great catch. Bobby Bryant went nose to nose with him, just shy of midfield. So Gene Fugit makes it 1st down at midfield. Good catch. Picked up 20. Gene Fugit, by the way, in his 8th playoff game. Gene was a big part in last year's Dallas miraculous victory over Minnesota.
He caught 7 passes in his Dallas career, touchdown passes. He's caught 6 already this year.
1st and 10 from midfield. Kilmer hesitates, throws over the middle, off Jefferson's hands. No catch by Nate Wright. Well, Roy Jefferson trying to fingertip it, and he can't do it. You want to talk about a tightrope act? What's this high wire act? Staying just in bounds by Chuck Foreman. He can always work for Ringling Brothers when he quits football. Right on the chalk. Tippy-toeing in. 2nd and 10 from midfield. Kilmer sends Grant left and Jefferson right. Fugit tight end on the right side. Mike Thomas hit, and he's out. To the 40, to the 35, to the 30, and finally dragged down by Bobby Bryant at the 30. So Mike Thomas broke open for 20 through the left side.
Good run by Mike Thomas here. The Redskins very desperately need to put 7 on the board here. He cuts back against the grain here. He broke a tackle from Doug Sutherland. He cuts outside. Going to pick up 20. A good block by Grant on Paul Krause. And Bobby Bryant stops him after a pick up the 20 in the 1st down.
1st and 10 on the Viking 30. Kilmer, a little release to Riggins, who makes a remarkable catch and staggers to the 20-yard line. John Riggins coming out of a crowd after apparently staying in to block.
Fullback delay against the grain. Billy rolling out to the left. He knows Riggins is back on the right side. He's going to slip on a little delay here. Little almost like a basketball pass. And Riggins one-hands it, gets it into his body very close to the 1st down.
They're checking it now. The ball is right on the Viking 20-yard line. It started on the Washington 30, so they've moved 50 yards and in a hurry. And they picked up the 1st down. 28-3 Minnesota, and the Redskins trying to get off the floor. 9.5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. George Allen trying to will his team across the goal line. Grant in a slot right inside Jefferson, in motion Thomas. Riggins got a good block from Saul. He took care of Hilgenberg, and that gave him 4 or 5 yards. Bryant and Amos Martin finally coming up to make the tackle.
Amos Martin has done a fine job this afternoon, filling in for Jeff Seaman. Got a bruised left leg, will not play anymore today. And Amos Martin has really not seen that much action this year in that middle linebacker spot.
So Riggins picked up 4 to make it 2nd and 6 from the 16-yard line. Remember, in the first half, John carried the ball 4 times for only 1 yard. Thomas in motion. Over to Frank Grant, and he's got a first down as he is knocked out of bounds at the 5-yard line.
And a back
flag
judge,
on the play.
Back judge threw a flag all the way from the end zone all the way out to the 9-yard line.
I would think it's against Washington, and it is.
They've got to get in for 7 here, then. Right away. They've got to get that 7 points back and just hope that that defense can get a turnover, a fumble.
Offensive pass interference, number 80, second down.
Well, Roy Jefferson is caught pushing. That adds 10 yards and makes it 2nd and 16 from the 26.
Another big turnaround. Instead of having the football inside the 10 with the first down.
Standing on the sideline, Amos Martin along with Jeff Wright.
Second down and 16. For the
That's in the middle.
Yeah, right. 2nd and 16 for the 26. Gilmer looking into the corner, throwing for Jefferson, led him too much. Bobby Bryant over there with him.
Square out left to Jefferson. Just the timing was not perfect on the play. Overthrown. Billy a little bit disgusted.
So it's 3rd and 16 from the Viking 26.
We're looking into that sun coming from the right of your screen here.
Bud Grant watching his Vikings, who are leading by 25 points with 8 minutes and 19 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. And Billy Kilmer, 11 for 26, somehow trying to make the key fit the lock. 3rd and 16. Big rush. Complete to Frank Grant inside the 20, and they'll bring him down at about the 17-yard line. A big reception for Frank Grant, and he was hit hard by Bobby Bryant and also Nate Allen, but he held on to it.
Again, Kilmer on the scramble. He's got pressure. He doesn't even have time enough to look downfield. Jumps over Alan Page, trying to grab him from behind. He finally finds his receiver, Frank Grant, and Bobby Bryant stops him. I think they're going to bring in Mosley.
So it's 4th down. The ball is on the 18-yard line.
Would they try the fake here with Joe Theismann?
The ball will be spotted on the 25. So it's a 35-yard field goal attempt. Mosley hit one in the 1st quarter. It's good. Well, psychologically, I guess half a loaf is better than none.
That's right.
But they have to remember that completed pass would have made it 1st and goal from the 5, and they lost all of that on the penalty. So they settle for 3. It's 28-6 Minnesota.
You're watching Bud Beechwood, TV producer and writer.
I may risk my neck for fun, but when it comes to money, I want my feet on solid ground. That's what I told Merrill Lynch. So they showed me ways to be on the safe side and still get a good return. Like 8% utilities, A-rated. That's my kind of security.
At Merrill Lynch, you don't have to take big risks to share in America's growth.
Son, could I use your car tonight?
Sure. Don't forget to put some gas in it.
Every family should have at least one diehard. Because the diehard has extra power to start your car when most batteries won't. Sold only at sea.
Seven minutes and 24 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. 28-6 Minnesota. And here we go. It'll be Leonard Willis on his 13. Hit hard by Ted Fritz before he could get to the 25. So Fritz, one of the special team men, quickly down to hit Willis and take him out. And they'll spot the ball on the 23-yard line. The Washington scoring drive that wound up with that 35-yard field goal So they have 2 field goals, a 47-yard field goal by Mark Mosley, and now a 35. But Vikings comfortably sitting on top of a 28-6 lead.
And then both Foreman and McClanahan could be headed for a 100-yard rushing day. Foreman 74 yards and 15 carries. McClanahan 70 and 9.
McClanahan bursting out across the 30-yard line. Harold McClendon down at the bottom at the ankles. But boy, with that quick speed, he just blew him wide open. And the bottom man getting up very slowly is Kenny Houston.
They're beating him up front. The offensive line of the Vikings firing off the football. They're controlling the line of scrimmage. When you get a guy like Foreman, put him just 2 steps into the secondary, gets by the linebacker, it seems, almost every time, and he can pick him up and lay him down.
2nd and 2 from the 32. White in a slot inside Rashad to the left. And it's McClanahan again, hit hard, head first by McClinton, and from the back by Dave Butts.
Well, how many times today have we seen the Vikings with the 2nd 2, 2nd 3? That is a big key.
You know, you said, Paul, that Minnesota is beating them up front, and they're winning 28-6. Can you remember a game where a club beat another team without beating them up front?
You know you got it. That's the name of the game, Ben. Yeah. It's blocking and tackling. It hadn't changed for 50 years. We're much more sophisticated today nationally. We've got a lot more different pass routes. But I want to tell you, you get the guys, those 5 guys up front, they win the battle there, you're going to win it.
Well, they picked up the first down, 1st and 10 from the 34-yard line of Minnesota. McClanahan now has 11 carries for 80 yards. And remember, McClanahan came into this game with a rushing average of only 2.9, and here he is over 7 a carry. So they give it to McClanahan. And he goes out to the 45-yard line, and they just can't stop him. He picks up another 11 yards. So that's 12 carries for 92 yards.
Watch Ed White and Ron Yeri work on the right side. There he is, 62, Ed White, going against Dave Butts. Cross blocking. Yeri blocked down, and Ed White goes out and pushes Ron Monroe to the outside. And the quick hitting McClanahan is very, very close to another first down. You wouldn't think they're keying Foreman a little bit too much. McClanahan, this is his best day of the year.
2nd down and about 1. The Minnesota fans enjoying the weather, enjoying the game. And McClanahan enjoying everything.
You know, I worked up here with the Vikings for 5 years in the radio broadcast, and it's true. This is the most unbelievable day in December you'll ever see up here.
Here goes Foreman, outside Yeri. Still on his feet and dragged down as he crossed the 45-yard line. Harold McClinton, who seems to be making almost all of the tackles now, finally dragging him down.
Ooh, 13-yard pickup. Foreman out of the fullback position. Now watch the double team on the outside. McClanahan had a good block by Steve Craig. Here comes Foreman back. Ooh, what a forearm. Who was that? That was Kenny Houston. Almost tore his head off. Finally stopped by McClinton.
So another first down. Foreman now has 88 yards. McClanahan 89. 1st and 10 from the Washington 43. And it's Foreman's turn. But as he dodged one attempted tackle by Dave Butts, he ran into several others. And that slows him down for the moment.
You know what Fran Tarken's doing right now, don't you, Ben? Picking up the yardage on the ground. He's eating up a lot of valuable time off that clock.
This third quarter is almost history. It's 4 minutes left to go.
They're controlling the football, and Tarkey, then you give him 5 or 6 yards, he can pick it up on the ground. He's going to stuff it right down your throat. Why go away from something's good? Let's keep it on the ground.
That is a beleaguered front 4 for Washington now, with McDowell and Brundage, Talbot, and Johnson. They've taken quite a heavy pounding. 2nd and 9 from the Washington 42. That's to Sammy White. Chasing him is Kenny Houston, and finally wrestles him down at the 30-yard line. And now they're starting to almost move the ball at will. That's another first down.
He comes out with the passing situation, man-to-man. Sammy White, his 3rd catch of the afternoon. They got a little move. He's got Ken Houston man-to-man. Actually, you got to give him 4 or 5 yards.
The 1st and 10 for Minnesota on the Washington 30-yard line.
And And the fans are alive here. They're happy with the 22-point lead.
Sammy White, wide right. Ahmad Rashad, wide left, and McClanahan in motion. And it's Foreman somehow twisting for another couple. At the bottom was Byron Talbot. Fran Tarkenton was quoted earlier as saying there are two things he believes in with all his heart. That Sammy White should be the Rookie of the Year, and that Chuck Foreman is the most valuable player of the Minnesota Vikings.
He's the best draft pick that they ever took here at Minnesota. Before Foreman arrived here, their running attack was like 2 yards, 3 yards, and he always been in a passing situation. This guy has changed it all. Targeting ought to give him about 10% of his salary. He's going to keep him playing another 10 years.
McClanahan tied up by Hamburger at the top. He had him from the back, and then he let go once he had slowed him up. Brad Dusek put him away. Minnesota won the opening toss, and they have won just about everything else all day.
It's a pretty good team protecting a lead, too, wouldn't you say, Ben?
I should say, and what a lead. 22 points with 2 minutes and 19 seconds to go in the third quarter. 3rd and 6 from the 26. Sammy White wide right. Ahmad Rashad wide left.
Check those two backs. They swing out of the backfield. They're going against the linebackers. There they go.
They both go out. Tarkenton over the middle to Stu Boyd. He was in front of Jake Scott and just beat him. And he got inside the 15-yard line.
He reiterates, Stu Boyd has only caught 28 passes this year, and that's good for this tight end, believe me. But against Washington, the last time out, he caught 8. And Fran Tarkenton goes right back to him. He makes the big catch, and he's got a good pair of hands. This is a good football player, Boyd. Very underrated.
We have 1 minute and 30 seconds to go to the end of the third quarter. Fran Tarkenton playing with house money now, a big lead. Time is a factor on his side, and he's close to bringing home another one. 1st and 10 from the 12. McClanahan following Foreman, hit at the 10, and goes forward for a yard or 2 more.
Well, the Redskins pulling out all the stops on defense now. They had a safety blitz. Every linebacker's filling the hole and the gaps. You get one of those backs, Foreman or McClanahan, that happens to split it. They catch him in trap blocking. They're going to go right to the goal line.
2nd and 7 from the 9. With less than a minute to go in the third quarter, 28-3 Minnesota. Rashad right, Sammy White left. Backs stay in for the moment, then release in the end zone to Sammy White. Touchdown. He just took it away from Joe Lavender.
He beat Joe Lavender on it, just a corner pattern, just a square out. Sammy White, 3 touchdowns last week. He's came back today with his 2nd touchdown pass. Well, look at the pass protection, Ben. He just looked to the left. Sammy White beat him easily on a square out.
It is 34-6 Minnesota. And the Redskins, who tried to surround the wagon train, have been dehorsed.
Oh, Fran Tarkenton's called just an excellent football game. He's like a surgeon there. He just cuts you apart. He'll nickel and dime you. He'll go for the bomb. He says this is the best 2 wide receivers he's ever thrown to in professional football, Rashad and Sammy White. This guy might be the National Football League Player of the Year if this keeps up in the playoffs. White.
Cox picks it up, and good. The Minnesota Vikings are leading the Washington Redskins 35-6 with 37 seconds left to go in the third quarter. It's time to pass the peace pipe.
Sooner or later, you're going to get some white owls. And when you do, we gotcha. Maybe we'll get you with the early American jar with 25 Invincibles. Or the Decorator Duck. Or a White Owl gift box with my picture on it. But you know we're gonna get you this Christmas.
Lester here wears the same outfit every show, but I don't. So I start with Hager slacks. And for today's matinee, I'll add this Hager top. For the supper show, and at midnight, This great suit look. All outfits of Encron polyester double knit. Price so I can afford to look like a headliner. So why don't you buy me Hager slacks? Because Hager doesn't make them for dummies.
Hager, America's best-known name in slacks.
Yeah, let's move.
Fred Cox is asked to kick off again as Minnesota leading 35-6 with 37 seconds left to go in the third quarter. Freddie kicks it deep to Eddie Brown at the 5. Behind the wedge to the 20, and down he goes, and he was hit hard there by Fred McNeil after Windland Hall just blew the whole wedge down.
Did you see that? He threw his body right into it.
Windland Hall will not get much publicity, but he just wiped out a wedge. Great play by the special teams. And there is the contrast. Bud Grant on the phones listening to Jerry Burns, and George Allen listening to his special drummer at this stage of the game. 35-6 Minnesota. First and 10 Washington on their own 23. Jefferson wide left, Fugit on the left side, Grant right. They really split Riggins and Thomas to block. The pass to Jefferson, juggled and carried out of bounds. No catch. Bobby Bryant and Wally Hilgenberg there.
Well, he said he was going to go to the strong side passing attack, which he has done, but he's had 4 or 5 drop passes a day. That one was juggled. He would have caught it. It would have been a completed pass before he got outside.
On the sidelines for Minnesota, Bob Lee is loosening up again. Remember, he was in for the last couple of plays of the second quarter. And leading 35-6, why Francis might have the rest of the afternoon off.
He's had a pretty good day. 12 out of 21, 170 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Mike Thomas out across the 25, fumbled, I believe, after the whistle. Nate Wright coming up quickly to smother that play. John Riggins going out. It'll be third down and a good 7. And we have run out of time. Minnesota just about kept the ball throughout the third quarter. And so we've got 15 minutes left here at the Met as far as Washington is concerned. 35-6 Vikings.
Now, at a theater near you, you can see the most exciting, original motion picture event of all time.
Over the gate!
King Kong. King Kong. Rated PG. Check newspapers for a theater near you.
There are a lot of small cars to choose from, but Ford Pinto stands alone as the best-selling small car in America. Pinto outsells Vega, Chevette, Datsun B210, Toyota Corolla, everybody. Pinto has a low price, reduced schedule maintenance requirements, and high resale value, hundreds of dollars more than Vega. Considering a small car, consider the one that is the best-selling small car in America, Ford Pinto. When America needs a better idea, Ford puts it on wheels.
That's me in action against the Dolphins in Super Bowl VII. And this is me a month later talking about that game with our soldiers in Korea. Each year, a group of NFL players, in cooperation with the USO, spends several weeks on a goodwill tour in the Far East. More than 100 NFL players have made the trip since 1966. It's just part of the USO's work, and it's made possible through your support of the United Way. Thanks to you, it works for all of us. The United Way.
The preceding announcement brought to you as a public service by the National Football League. Gilmer over the right side, intended for Mike Thomas, and he just threw it over his head, and Billy, furious at himself, take another look as to exactly why.
Well, it's been a combination. The guy's open. Billy's a little off target. When he is on target, they've been dropping the football. Thomas right over the middle, wide open, way behind him. Incomplete, 4th down, let's kick it.
Now you'll see Billy showing the other side of an incompleted pass.
Rawr. My man, I love it.
From the 25-yard line, they have run out of steam, so Mike Bragg will have to punt it out of there. Leonard Willis standing on his own 35. Up in front is Autry Beeman and Sammy White. And it's heading down the left side. Willis in pursuit. And it goes out of bounds. They'll spot it at the 41-yard line where Washington will now see Minnesota put it in play. And it seems like that's about what Washington's been doing as Minnesota holds on to the ball. We'll return to Metropolitan Stadium after this word from your local station.
Alice's mother-in-law decides to become a permanent house guest. But Alice has other ideas. Tonight on CBS.
For Minnesota, they take over 1st and 10 on their own 42, and at the wheel, Bob Lee. And over in the sidelines, Fran Tarkenton taking a well-deserved rest. He has called a tremendous game. So Bob Lee, out of the College of Pacific, gets a chance to get his feet wet, gives to McClanahan, and Hamburger grabbed him by the shirt and brought him down.
That's the first loss today by Minnesota on a rushing attempt. Bobby Lee, 15 out of 30 on the year, so he actually hasn't seen too much action. But all Minnesota, first 3 quarters, they put together 351 yards in offense.
And Tarkenton calling some magnificent plays. He really has been the general today. Oh, bad handoff. Recovered by Minnesota, frustrating Dennis Johnson and Harold McClendon. They thought they might have had a pop at it, but the ball bounced right back up to Brent McClanahan. That's the second time McClanahan has gotten that bunt. Say, by the way, you can add the many talents of Dick Van Dyke to those of Carol Burnett and her crew, and you have a truly delightful hour. Be sure to share it tonight at 10 p.m., 9 Central. 3rd and 18 on the Viking 34-yard line. Sammy White right, Rashad left. Lee to McClanahan, and he bumped into him on the handoff, so you can tell they're a little rusty with him. It was a handoff with a block attached to it.
Well, I figure not too many big mistakes. Let's run 3 plays and keep the ball on the ground. That eats off another minute and a half off that clock.
McClanahan going out along with Chuck Foreman. Foreman has rushed for 93 yards and McClanahan for 91.
And an unusual stat, Chuck Foreman has not caught a pass.
4th and 12 from the Viking 39-yard line. And Neil Clabo will be kicking to Eddie Brown, who's standing on his 25. Boy, did he get one off. Brown going back to his 13 to field it. Gets away from McNeil. Beeman hits him. He gets away from Beeman. And he's finally dragged down by Sammy Johnson. Johnson along with Hamilton on the special team. And Autry Beeman, who took a lick from Pete Wysocki, is really shaken up. So with 12:34 left to go in the ball game, it is Minnesota 35 and the Redskins 6.
Oh, boy. Most of these CB brands I never heard of. Where do I start? CB by RCA. Now, that's a dependable name. Well, that makes it easy. I'll get the one from the communications experts.
CB by RCA.
Now you're talking RCA.
Thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic scoring play by that New York Life Insurance team. Let's see the instant replay. Look at those New York Life pros blocking out Jake's money problems, stopping his retirement worries. And there he is, reaching his goal. Jake's got financial security.
New York Life made it happen.
Where the name of the game is life, there's New York Life.
How many congressmen were on the take from a Korean businessman? This story and more as 60 Minutes comes your way at 10, 9 Central for this edition only tomorrow night.
Fran Tarkenton talking to Bob Lee on the Minnesota sidelines. 35-6 Vikings, 12 and a half left to go in the game. And it's 1st and 10 Washington from their own 15. Jim Marshall was moving on the play. The pass complete to the 35-yard line to Roy Jefferson. And let's wait and see whether Marshall was drawn off or not, but he was flying.
Got off the ball very quickly. There's Roy Jefferson, who just caught the pass. It'll be a first down. They'll decline that penalty. 18-yard pickup on the play. Here's Kilmer. Here's play action. That's Calvin Hill in now, one of the running backs. Comes over to the middle to his flanker, Roy Jefferson, who holds on. He's stopped by Wally Hilgenberg. Well, looks like the Vikings are going to be back home here next week.
Refused. First down. So Jim Marshall was offside. Naturally, the penalty refused. 1st and 10 on the 35-yard line. Frank Grant to the left. Roy Jefferson to the right. Duguid, the tight end, on the right side. Kilmer over the middle to Grant. Grabbed by Bryant and Krause. And then Minnesota holds a team meeting on his body.
Tackled by the defensive secondary of the Minnesota Vikings.
Looked like a team picture.
I was going to say the Vikings will be playing at home, the winner of the Ram-Cowboy game. Who do you like in that game, Ben?
I like them both.
You like them both, right?
Clever, huh?
I tell you, Pat Hayden, we understand, from Tom Brookshire, and Pat Summerall at halftime, he's going to get the starting nod. I like that young man. He does a great job. The the Cowboys with Roger Staubach. Going to be quite a battle right here tomorrow on CBS.
1st and 10 on the Viking 48. Kilmer to John Riggins. Riggins with Nugent in front of him. Gets across the 40 before going out of bounds at the 38-yard line. Nate Allen along with Wendland Hall pushing him out. Riggins in the first half rushed for 1 yard. And so far prior to this carry, he had picked up 4 more.
Makes a good cut here. John Riggins would have liked to carry the ball 20 to 25 times. And the reason for that, Billy Kilmer told me, if he can run the football 20 to 25 times, we're going to be in the football game. It's going to be a close one, and we will have control of it. That did not happen today.
No, he's carried for 6 times, and they're not in the game. 2nd and 1 from the 39. Kilmer to Gene Fugit, and it's broken up. Bobby Bryant all over the big tight end to knock it out. 11:37 to go.
It is again. Square out on the left side. Billy's looking left all the way. Bobby Bryant falls up in the air just a little bit too long. Intended for Gene Fugit.